I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're heavy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're heavy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well. Welcome everybody to an IPD Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is good for Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, well, we're just going to cover the aftermath of the Anthony Joshua-Ngannou crossover fight that we just had. But before we get down to the fun, because there were other fights in the undercard as well that we have to talk about, but before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature. Although it's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. The most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel. Alright, fellas? I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Warp Speed, Sebastian. Shout out to those guys in there. Handflow Boxing Review, Alejandro Marquez, Sean Anthony in the house as well. Shout out to Sean Anthony. T. Baggins, Michael Poe, Marshall Jenkins. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to start off right off the bat here. Might be opening up the phone lines. I mean, probably will, but I'm just saying, I don't know if it's going to be 7:45 Eastern Time. Probably going to be opening them in half an hour. So far, none of the classic usual panelists have jumped on, so I suspect they're going to be jumping in as we go along. So we might extend the phone lines to a little bit later. But I mean, all right, so if you've been living under the rock, spoilers, Anthony Joshua just completely decimated, knocked out Ngannou cold in under 2 rounds. And you saw a lot of the deficiencies that a lot of people pointed out on, what was it, yesterday's show or before yesterday's shows? I forget, the last show we did. And how he drops his hands, he buys feints. It just so happened to be that the last time he fought in boxing, or the first time, was against a fat, out-of-shape Tyson Fury who weighed about the same as he did. You know, a little bit more, obviously, 277. But it's a 270-pound guy with very limited boxing experience. And I see Butcher's jumping in. Butcher, people keep saying, I'll ask you one question, and then you can go on with whatever you want to, but people kept saying, no, but he did box. He's not a novice, he did box. I'm thinking, okay, so nowadays, no matter anyone that has an amateur career, he can compete with the best in the world. Is that what they're saying?
Exactly. It was a complete disrespect for boxing. And also some people were getting just delusional. Joe Rogan, I remember he was saying that if you think that Tyson Fury won that fight, you don't know shit about boxing, something like that. And then he was like, Ngannou just beat probably one of the best heavyweights of all time. I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't know shit about boxing. First of all, Fury's not one of the best heavyweights of all time. He didn't beat Fury, in my opinion, but let's say it was close. That's it. Okay, Fury wasn't even 100% in that fight. We all know that. That guy was fat, like you said. he didn't take the fight seriously. If you look at the knockdown that he suffered, Tyson Fury, the knockdown he suffered, he was throwing 1-2s, 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 repeating the same fucking combination 3 times, or 2 or 3 times. Like, that's ridiculous. Of course you're gonna get caught. But in that fight, Ngannou didn't do shit either. Like, he was just standing there. He wasn't doing anything. I knew AJ was gonna knock him out because AJ was gonna take him seriously, and he was gonna faint. And I knew that Ngannou was gonna eat all the feints. That's what happens with amateur boxers that don't have experience. They eat all the fucking feints. And AJ is not a bomb. And people that also think, oh, Ngannou has taken knees before and he's taken kicks. Okay, so what? So you telling me now all of a sudden this guy cannot get knocked out by punches, right? Because all of a sudden he's Terminator. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? If AJ lands a good shot, I knew he was gonna drop this motherfucker. Anyways, this just showed that you can't just cross over and beat a boxer.
I will continue
Especially even in the
however,
heavyweight division. Even in the heavyweight division, that's fucking slow motion.
Yeah, but in today's heavyweight division, there's a little bit more room for these guys to have some success. Some of these crossover guys, but you're right. I mean, it's.
Can I ask you this, BDA? Ngannou, put him against Zhile Zhang. What do you think happens?
Well, I mean, I think Zhang takes him out early, but if he could somehow manage to get it past the 6, I mean, you saw what happened with Zhang tonight. Your point still stands. I understand what you're saying, and also Ariel Helwani kept telling people after the Fury fight, immediately afterwards, you guys called me crazy when I said when Ngannou had no chance. Now I'm telling you, Ngannou beats every heavyweight. I'm thinking, oh boy, he drank the Kool-Aid.
Oh my god.
Well, it wasn't technically Kool-Aid over in Jonestown. It was a Flavor-Aid, I believe. But anyway, the point remains. He drank the poison, and he believed it himself. And the Zone keeps hiring this dude. I mean, I understand the hustle for Helwani. I know he started from very little, but right now it's clear that he manages to get himself these broadcasting positions because of certain connections. And I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, Joshua just made it look easy, man, with the feints. He just fainted. He kept Ngannou dropping his hands. And by the way, Tyson Fury did connect with some good shots in the Ngannou fight, but he just didn't have the follow-through, number one. And number two, there's a clear difference of speed between Joshua and Fury. Fury's more of a thudding puncher. Joshua has more snap to his shots. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean...
And he turns on his punches. He really turns on the right hand. It's a nice right hand, man.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't
Straight
necessarily
right.
mean...
Yeah,
that doesn't necessarily mean that that Joshua beats Fury, or at least the Fury from 2015. But it's clearly there's different type of power, and we did point that out actually before the fight. But it's just, people got hypnotized. And again, fat Fury, 277.7 pounds against Ngannou, clearly took him lightly. But even then, he shouldn't have struggled against that dude. But he managed to do so anyway, because just goes to show you, Fury's overrated too. It's
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he beat Wilder, and then now look at Wilder. I mean, just quickly talking about Wilder. Wilder, they make it out to be as if it was a big, as if Fury had a big win against Wilder, but Wilder wasn't really anything special either. And then the Wilder loses to Parker, and then Parker, in my opinion, should have lost against Zhile Zhang. So where does that put Wilder in the mix?
Exactly.
He's an average boxer. An average boxer in this heavyweight era.
And by the way, Quentin Lassiter says, people kept saying Ngannou took kicks so punches can't hurt him. Yeah, that's what Butcher said that too earlier as well. That, that was the logic for some people. It's like, man, this guy takes kicks and knees, therefore he's going to be able to take a punch. And by the way, there's that infamous Discovery Channel, I forget what the program was, from the mid-2000s, I believe, where they had Bas Rutten trying on different gloves and hitting some sort of contraption that allowed them to gauge the punching power, which of course isn't always indicative of, whether you can take them. But that's what people get wrong. It's not about necessarily the power or the violence. It's do you catch the guy at the right time, the right spot when he doesn't see it coming? Because there is a mental component of being able to take a punch. You sort of scrunch down like a turtle and you're able to absorb the shot, more or less. And in that program, they did prove that hitting with a boxing glove actually packs more of a punch than an MMA glove. Had something to do with the proportion of the, what am I saying here? the way the weight of the punch gets proportioned and spread out, something along those lines. So yeah, man, and especially look, I don't know if you saw the last knockdown or the final punch when Joshua threw that right, and Ngannou had his arms stretched out, chin untucked. He was trying to hide it behind the shoulder, but I mean, there wasn't enough space in there to hide all of it, and he got clipped in. And by the way, do you think, Butcher, should they have stopped the fight after the second knockdown?
Absolutely. I mean, Ngannou looked like he was out of it. They should have stopped it right there, because even if you look at the last knockdown, he felt in a weird way. Ngannou felt like he was just made out of jello. Like he was already done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looked. I was looking at his eyes in the replay, especially when he got his ass hit the canvas and he's getting up, and you could tell he wasn't there. I mean, obviously he was conscious. That's why he was getting up, but he was halfway into La La Land, Dreamland, and I think they should have stopped it. But again, I suspect that the people needed to see that. People wanted to see that. People wanted to see him.
That's what in the chat Sebastian is saying. He says, "Nah, no stoppage. We needed this."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to a certain extent.
We needed this game. I agree, though.
Well, I tell you what, though, we have another sort of a freak fight coming through. I don't know if you saw, but they announced Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I know Tyson's close to 60, and a lot of people are impressed by his workout videos where he's, looking like the old Mike Tyson, but a guy's not punching back in that scenario. Then again, Jake Paul also makes a lot of mistakes. Technically, like an Ngannou, his stamina sucks. What do you think about that one, Butch? You think there's going to be a surprise there, and if so, which side is going to be surprised?
That fight, they're going to go easy on each other.
I had the same feeling, man. I had the same thought sprang to my mind and say, is this going to be a real fight, though? Because
no, this is an Nate Diaz against Jake Paul. No.
Yeah, technically, I think it's cited as an exhibition. Then again, when Tyson fought Roy Jones, he really went at him, but the referee allowed Jones to clinch.
Yeah, but those were two former, legends in the sport of boxing, and they were around the same age, so they could go hard at each other.
Yeah, so I mean, what's next for Ngannou, though? I mean, he got some good paydays.
Yeah, AJ, I don't know if you listened to the post-fight interview. AJ was saying, he shouldn't quit boxing. This is only his second professional fight, and he fought two of the best heavyweights, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I believe that Ngannou should retire. He's 38 years old. I don't know how far he can go in the sport of boxing. Again, can he beat a guy like Joseph Parker? No. Can he beat Zhilei Zhang? No. Who can he really beat? I don't even think he beats Wilder. I mean, Wilder lands a right hand on this guy. He knocks him out.
The Quack says, sending back to the sand mines. I mean, come on. Wasn't he working cobalt mines or something? I don't know. But hey, you guys
in the chat, Protector said back to the UFC. I guess he should go back to the UFC.
But
Why
isn't
not?
he fighting?
He's 38.
But isn't he quarreling with Dana White?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on exactly. I'm not that huge of an MMA fan, but I think he should go back to MMA. One of those organizations or something. He shouldn't stay in boxing. He's not going to go far. I mean, were you really impressed with this fight? I wasn't even impressed with his performance against Fury. I don't know what people saw in that. What I saw in that Fury fight was Fury not taking the fight seriously. I didn't see Ngannou doing anything special. That's why I knew he was going to get knocked out, because I didn't see anything in that fight.
I was surprised.
He was just sitting there waiting to counter. That's it.
I was surprised at his footwork and some of his timing. But then again, he was timing.
His footwork's going to be okay. He's an MMA fighter. He's a fighter.
I know, but what I'm saying is I said I was surprised by his footwork and his timing, but then again, he was timing a fat ass in there. A guy that didn't take it seriously. It's not that hard to time a guy, especially, again, the heavyweights, it's a different world. It's guys that are above 6'5", 6 feet, 5 inches tall, above that, 200 plus pounds, more than 230. It's another world. The loss of physics stop applying at a certain point with some of these guys in boxing. But you're right. And by the way, Bucho, Joshua didn't even look happy or anything. So how some guys will knock a guy out, especially, like we see this from some Americans. They knock out a guy that's a complete no-hoper, and then they're celebrating. Like they just beat a guy, and then they're beating their chest. This guy beat up a
Yeah,
big dude.
remember when Vitor Belfort knocked out Evander Holyfield in that fucking weird out box? I mean, that guy was celebrating like he won the heavyweight championship of the world. AJ, he knew he was much better than Ngannou. He like many experts, boxing experts, real boxing experts, knew that Ngannou is not he has many flaws. It's the MMA fans and people who don't know shit about boxing that were getting excited about this fight, saying it was a 50-50 fight. Ngannou's gonna catch him. Like, AJ has no chin. I don't know where the people also get this idea that AJ has no chin. I mean, yes, he was stopped by Ruiz, but he basically quit in that fight. He was standing when he quit. He got dropped multiple times and got back up. Vladimir Klitschko dropped him. He got back up, and Klitschko hits hard as fuck with the right hand. So he has a good chin. So again, a lot of people, I think, need to go back and reassess their prediction and look at, the mistakes that they made. I think these guys are not really. I don't want to say anything about it. I'll just stop right there. I think some people are not that good at predicting boxing fights. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I mean, this was a pretty easy one.
I think your silence actually says more than it actually spells out what you want to say. But I will say this, man. When it comes to Joshua, we talked about where does Ngannou go from here. I suppose maybe he could go to some adjacent or burgeoning MMA company. But I mean, the money he made here is very good, and what he stands to make back in MMA pales in comparison to that. But now, what about Joshua? Because, and this is to your point, he got underrated after those Usyk defeats. And I think, again, that's because people underrate Usyk. So by proxy, they will underestimate Anthony Joshua. But it's quite clear that there's this heavyweight division is kind of, and I've said it before, man, so it's not the first time. It's a thin heavy division. You've got Usyk, you've got Fury, you got Joshua, and then there's everybody else. I mean, you looked at Zhang. Bucho, talk about hype mania. Zhilei Zhang, before the fight, I was asking people in the last show, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Zhang easy, knockout easy," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I can see the knockout, but Parker's pretty quick. Zhang is pretty slow. What happens if this goes past the 6th round?" And
I'm gonna humble myself here and say that fight I got wrong, because I thought that Zhilei Zhang was gonna stop him. He did drop him twice, so I was like, "Oh, my prediction are correct." But listen, Zhilei Zhang, the problem is this guy starts to slow down. He's 40-something years old as well. 291. That was the mistake that Zhilei Zhang made. He started to slow down, and I think he believed that he was winning the rounds, and in addition with the 2 knockdowns, I thought maybe he thought he had enough to win the decision. Mm-hmm. But Parker, you're right. He's a quick boxer, so it's heavyweight boxers are hesitant to let their hands go against a guy like that. There's not a lot of guys with speed in the heavyweight division right now. But I think Zhilei Zhang won that fight. I can see that. I think a scorecard was like 116, one something else. I don't know with the knockdown. So like, you mean to tell me that Parker won most of the rounds? Like he swept?
Yeah, that's
basically almost all of the rounds. Like, no.
I wasn't scoring it, but Zhilei Zhang, man, 291. If that was his real weight, because I don't know, maybe he had some gold in his pants or something. 291 at 40 years old, you got to move that weight. I thought Fury was crazy coming in 270 against Wilder in the rematch. This dude comes in at 290 something. Of course he was gassed. Just taking a step is going to take energy out of him. It was a dumb move to make. But again, that's
BDA.
What's up, Sobers?
You think he pulled like an Andy Ruiz?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. This guy has a different set of, or maybe he did. But I mean, if he did it, it would be the first time that I see him pull something off like this. It's interesting because that's what I'm saying. Though this heavyweight division is thin. You got Fury, you got Usyk, you got Joshua, and then you got everybody else. Parker is not invincible. Even in this fight, there were times where he could have done more. And I understand he's fighting a guy who's got a good counterpuncher and who hits hard as fuck. But Parker's another guy that's got losses. Andy Ruiz, a guy with all the talent in the world. Again, another guy that very little discipline. Who else is here? You got some of the young guns, Jared Anderson, playing GTA in real life. playing, chicken with the cops. Then you've got what's that southpaw dude who's fucking tall? Anyway, Magmadov got his ass knocked out in Saudi Arabia last December, so he's out. So who's really next? Torres? I mean, I like Torres' moxie, but he's 6'1". He's going to be competing. Oh, Jalalov, that's the guy. Yeah, thank you, Quinn. That's the guy.
Yeah, the southpaw.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what. But again, other than that, I don't see that dude, the next dude that's going to take over the division. For a lot of people, it's Jalalov. I don't know, man.
The heavy division is crap right now.
Anthony Joshua's resume. My bad, Bucho.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, Anthony Joshua's resume is like aging fucking well, bro, and he's very active. He's one of the most active boxers right now. I think like in a year and a half, he's already fought like 4 or 5 times. Activity,
absolutely. And you know what? You mentioned that too. Yeah, let's look at a resume. Dillian White. I'm not even going to say Charles Martin, all those dudes, but I could. I mean, Charles Martin gave Jared Anderson hell, whereas Joshua stopped him in other 2 rounds. He's got a win over Joseph Parker. Kubrat Pulev. Okay, Kubrat Pulev's he's never going to take over the division, but the way Joshua beat him shows you that, again, there's a clear divide between Joshua and the rest of these dudes. He's got a win over Andy Ruiz, although there's a bit of an asterisk there because we don't know how good Ruiz was, but again, it is what it is. And the Usyk fight, he fought very well in the rematch. Oh, and now he's got a win over Wallin and Ngannou, and he made it look better than what Fury did. So once
AJ gets a lot of hate, man. Why does AJ get a lot of hate? Because there was this for a long time we had this feud between AJ fans and Wilder fans, and the Wilder fans, which are mostly American, they still have this grudge against against AJ. So they will always criticize AJ, no matter what he does. They will always go back to the Ruiz loss. They will go back to they will mention the Usyk losses. But now you're going to see when Usyk fights Fury, you're going to see how good Usyk is, So, and then that's going to show you, to demonstrate you that actually AJ did pretty good against Usyk in that second fight.
But can I say this?
So again,
I think Fury got a little overrated after the Wilder wins. But right now he's being underrated too. That's the story of today's show, is how sometimes views can get warped. I mean, yeah, sure, he shouldn't have struggled against Ngannou. But can we agree that he wasn't at his best? He was 277 points.
No, exactly. No, yeah, but let's focus. I agree with that. But going back to AJ, can we also agree that this guy is not as bad as some people think he is?
Absolutely.
And Never Sober just mentioned his fucking resume. He has probably the best resume in the heavyweight division.
I think so, yeah. I mean, in terms of volume as well, yeah.
So this guy, he's consistent. He's always fighting. This guy is very dangerous. And I always said he knocks out Deontay Wilder. And I said it like years ago. I'm still holding, I still believe he knocks out Deontay Wilder. I think he knocks out a lot of boxers.
I mean, you saw
and he's a superstar.
He has to be more aggressive, though. He has to. Remember that Joseph Parker fight? He was very hesitant. Go ahead.
I would say Andy's a big star, bro, because what other guys that are on that level that are fighting that often? You can say Canelo, but even he's slowed down, bro. In the last 2 years, 3 years, this guy AJ, he stays on it, bro. Like win or lose.
Yeah,
and he's making a lot of money.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he understands. He said it outright. He said, "I want to stay active. It's not the same as staying in the gym." Which is, again, hey, shout out to Steve Kim. He's been saying it for the past 2.5 years at least. Activity matters. After the pandemic, it just seemed like a lot of guys got comfortable just fighting once a year. And last year was a year.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying last year was a year of inactivity, and it cost a lot of guys. Gary Russell Jr. suffered from inactivity too in 2022, right? It was 2022 when he got beat by Maxayo. So yeah, that activity matters. But yeah, go ahead, Bucho.
Yeah, and AJ now he has this knockout reel. Of course, it's coming, against an MMA fighter, but still, it's a good highlight reel. It shows you that this guy has power. He looks like, he has power. He looks like a fucking comic book character. He's still a very attractive commodity.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, Oz.
Did I tell? I think I was talking about. We were talking about this when we were predicting the fight. That no, you brought it up, bro. The leaning back. You know, AJ baited him, and he just waited. He just made him lean back and shot that right hand, dude.
Yeah, the mistakes were there. Now, that's the other thing, though. I do think he would have iced Wilder in similar fashion. But I think Wilder might have gone a little bit longer because he's more agile. The guy's about 220 pounds, 6 feet, 6-inch frame. The guy can move. He can make it awkward the same way Hellenius did. But eventually, I think he would have got more. Because, I mean, other than that big right hand, that's what the Wilder fans kept saying. He got that. Nobody can handle that power. All right, somebody did handle it. Parker and Fury. And what happened?
And I've said it before, Severn, the first fight, he went 12 rounds. People forget about that fight.
Or Duhapis. He never dropped Duhapis. I give him credit. He beat him up, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. We got recognized, by the way. Jumping and recognized. What are your thoughts on Joshua's performance?
I didn't see the fights at all, but I saw the highlights.
That's all you need, man.
The highlights are the fights. It was only 2 minutes. It was only 2 rounds.
Yeah. Recognize. Just I imagine a guy who doesn't know how to box eating all the feints.
Yeah. I can see that. I can tell by the way he knocked him out.
It was beautiful. It was brutal.
Now you guys predicted stoppages.
I'm happy for AJ. I'm kind of like happy for AJ because like so many people like disrespected him and like, oh, Ngannou will beat him because this fucking fat blubber Tyson Fury, you know, couldn't get the job done because, you know, I'll admit, you know, Tyson Fury didn't take him serious and he made himself look like a fool out there against a guy who, you know, he's not a boxer. No matter what, I don't care about his amateur. You know, back in the days when he was a kid, he wanted to be a boxer and he had some amateur fights. That's not who he is. And you know, AJ handled that the way you're supposed to. Like you don't belong in the ring with the big dogs. And AJ took care of business, man. And everything that Sober said, man, his resume is like top notch, bro. It's the best in the heavyweight division. He fought everybody, just about.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, is he the most likable personality out there? No. I mean, I still haven't forgotten his mental breakdown after the Usyk rematch. But again, it's not about, we're not talking about whether he's Mr. Personality here. We're talking about his worth as a fighter. And he's one of the faces of boxing, the real faces of boxing. We're not talking about a little short lightweight that does 200,000 pay-per-view buys. We're talking a guy who draws in multiple people, packs arenas. And he fought Usyk twice, Andy Luis twice. He fought Klitschko, Dylan White, Joseph Parker. I mean, come on. And he's got more wins than losses against all those dudes. So, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Hey, BDA, who
yes,
was a more dangerous opponent for AJ? Ngannou or Povetkin? Like, just style-wise, you know?
Oh, I forgot. Povetkin. Povetkin, for sure.
Like, come on. And then listen, you're AJ. You go 24 rounds against a guy like Usyk. You're not gonna be surprised by anything Ngannou brings. You're not gonna be surprised by a left hook from Ngannou or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just easy fight. It was an easy fight from the beginning.
Well, I mean, I guess this sort of thins the list of more crossover. Some call them crossover fights. Other people call them circus fights. Other people call them freak fights. But it does sort of thin the herd because this was an opportunity, an economic opportunity for a lot of MMA expatriates to say, hey, you know what? Uncle Dana is mistreating me, paying me peanuts, treating me like a slave. I think I can make it in boxing. Now most guys are realizing, I mean, Jake Paul is I know he's fighting old guys, old MMA guys, but they're still former MMA champs. And he's beating them. Now, he's not doing it clean. He's doing a lot of clinching and cheating, in other words. But boxing is a very difficult sport. These dudes that, like Nick Diaz said, these dudes, MMA dudes that show up, sparring, no shoes on. It's like, come on, man. They think they hit the pads, they hit the punching bag, and all of a sudden they think they can box. There's a little bit more to boxing than just throwing hands. And you saw what happens there when you put a guy like Joshua in there against a guy like Ngannou.
Knocked him out like he was a kid.
Nah, come on. What the fuck? What's what's the evil? Listen to that evil laugh.
You know what
Man.
it was? I watched it again. I just watched it again. It's just like,
I feel bad. I'm not happy that Ngannou got iced like that, but it is a tough sport. It is what it is. And also, I must say, he was getting a little cocky. Didn't it seem that way a little bit, fellas? Wasn't he getting a little too big for his britches?
Who are you talking about, Ngannou?
Yeah.
He hit Ngannou with a get out of my face punch. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I'm done with this shit.
Recognize, you know
Oh,
how many
man.
people I've laid out like that. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's stating facts here.
I know. I'm saying, listen, I get it, but I'm just saying, man. Like this is he burst the bubble of like all these people that think that these guys can actually go in there and compete and beat like world level fighters. I'm happy he did that. Like, get this shit over with. I hope people think about it twice now. No more of that crossover shit.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, Sobers, you're more of an MMA guy. Who is there that could make it compelling to fans to cross over from MMA to boxing? Who's the guy that? I mean, even Israel Adesanya. These dude. Or what's the guy that beat Adesanya, the Brazilian good dude that looks like he just came out of the jungle? When he boxes, I've seen sparring footage of the dude. His chin is right up in the air. It's like in sparring, no one's going hard at him. Nobody wants to knock him the fuck out. But if he gets in there in a real fight, what does he think is going to happen? So that's what I'm saying here. You have good punching power, okay. You can hit the bag, okay. You got relatively good conditioning, okay. None of that prepares you for a hard 12-rounder. But yeah, in regards to Zhilei Zhang, I just want to make the point again, man. This dude was getting overrated. He was fighting a guy. Yeah, Parker wasn't going to stay in front of him the same way Joey Joyce did. So Zhang has to go back to the drawing board. And but it also makes the heavyweight division a little less compelling, like I said, because Fury Usyk, been there, done that. The only really fresh fight we can get is Fury Joshua, and what's really the incentive there? Especially if Usyk beats Fury, as most people expect he will do. So, yeah, right now the heavyweight division, we've got Fury Usyk, and then afterwards, it seems obviously someone else is going to spring up. That's the nature.
If Fury wins against Usyk, I think Fury versus AJ is very attractive.
Fury versus AJ, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But then again, it's Fury coming off a loss against AJ. It would still make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is, what's really next? Usyk will probably retire if he beats Fury, which is not. I'm not one of those people that's
somebody hit me in a DM on Discord and said that China number 2.
Oh,
it's true.
China number 2.
I think they because of the whole sanctions against China, all these China haters. That's why they robbed Zhilei Zhang, the China haters.
I'm kind of. I didn't see the fight, so how did you guys?
No,
see it?
Zhilei Zhang he dropped Parker twice, by the way, but then he didn't really do that much. I still think he won the fight, but I can see how maybe a draw. Well, yeah, it's one of those types. I mean, Zhilei Zhang has to be blamed.
Protectorate General says Zhang was drug drained. Protectorate General says Zhang was drug drained, out of shape, and still knocked down Parker, who Wilder couldn't knock down. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I know it's a big if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, but you just get the sense that if Zhang wasn't a big fat lump of rice, he could string a couple of fucking combos together, get this guy out of there. But again, this is in the world of what ifs. It is what it is. And Parker's, he edged it out, man. He edged it out. This dude, he ain't easy either. Shout out to Chris K, by the way, for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I just saw the highlight. Ngannou was done after the first knockdown. Indeed, he was. He certainly was after the second.
Yeah.
And of course, after the third. I wanted to ask you guys, what are we talking about then in terms of, what's the word? Okay, so Zhang, Parker, okay, we got through that. So perhaps, recognize, I'm pretty sure you didn't see this.
Let Jimmy give us his take on this fight.
Is Jimmy here?
Yeah. Jimmy?
Yes.
Yes. Jimmy, can you
what's up, guys?
Yeah.
Real quick, I fast forwarded through the Zhang fight because I wanted to kind of catch the Joshua one. No, I mean Parker's back. I mean his name's automatically in the top of the heavyweight division again. I mean it is what it is. Will he beat Joshua? No. Will he beat Usyk? Hell no. But good for him. He made himself a payday. He handled himself. Got up off the carpet. He took advantage of. I think Zhang does better with slow people. He just does. Any kind of quick movement fucks him up. You know, it is what it is. He couldn't hide his punches with the shorter guy. There's that. So that's pretty much all I could take on that. I wasn't really looking forward to it. To be honest, Parker bores the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, to sound like a curmudgeon, but it's true.
That fight actually.
What about the main event, Jimmy?
Oh, the main event. I mean, he's glacially slow. Like I said, that was the problem with him. Fury couldn't take advantage of it because Fury didn't have the power to hurt him. Okay, see the difference when you have fucking power? Like Fury, people were tricked into thinking Fury has this, more power than he really has because he fucking beat up. I'm easily the worst, least talented. And he got exposed his last fight. So again, all this does is expose Fury. I mean, fucking Joshua, that was embarrassing. He looked like he fought a novice. You see how slow he was? Like Joshua telegraphed that punch. And you know what I mean? He wicked telegraphed it because he didn't have to even try to.
He knew he was going to land it.
He hit him with a get out of my face punch.
Yeah, but he didn't give a fuck what was coming back.
Bro. Oh, man.
He's like when you throw a punch against a drunk guy and you know that drunk guy's not going to be able to block it or see it.
Exactly. I mean, did you see the knockout punch? How casually he walked over to him. He was like, "You got my money."
The fuck out of my face.
So he just turned around like, yeah, dude. It was like Mike Tyson after Michael Spinks. Remember when he just kind of turned his hands over? Like, come on, really? Is that all? Yeah. Like it was a circus fight. You know what I mean? It had no business being on pay-per-view. So I'd like to give a giant fuck you to DAZN for that, putting that circus behind a paywall. I didn't realize until it was time to put it on. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but it was $40. Yeah, $40. I'm not complaining. $40 and
what a joke.
$40 and they had a good undercard.
But I'm paying $220 a year, dude. So, yeah, but see, that's like when you start agreeing to like it becomes I guess you become you're getting fucked over so often. I guess when they buy you dinner first, it doesn't matter as much. Before they
Joshua is $40 there, and you're like, what the fuck?
But Joshua is one of the faces of boxing, so whatever he does, you're gonna expect him to. You're gonna expect Joshua to be on pay-per-view, especially against a guy like Ngannou.
Of course.
And of course, and the undercard was, like I said, the undercard was good. For $40, listen, if it would have been $75, $80, I would agree with you. But $40, I mean, hey, it's fairly priced.
But if I didn't pay for DAZN, if I wasn't a subscription holder, it would have been that. You know what I mean? And again, when they up the price, I'm just going by their word.
Is Jimmy cutting off or is it just me?
Like it was, big one.
I think Jimmy, I think you're cutting.
And again, this is. Oh, I might.
Sorry, Jimmy. I think you're cutting. You're cutting off.
I'm cutting off again.
Yeah.
All right.
Drop out and come back, maybe.
So, hey, Jimmy, what's right is right, all right?
All right. What's right is right.
Now you insulted him a little bit. You got a lot of yourself.
He didn't insult nobody.
But anyway, listen. Nobody's a fan of pay-per-views, but I didn't think this was that egregious. But again, Jimmy does have a point. You give an inch, they take a mile. So maybe we should stand our ground here and complain a little bit. Not too much, a little bit. The other thing is, should we even talk about the undercard? Because the Nick Ball versus Ray Vargas, I mean, that was Vargas with the fucking ass tactics, American slick style tactics.
I think we should stick to AJ today, and then we can do another show about the other stuff. Like Navarrete and I mean,
Hey, Jimmy.
fuck it,
did
man.
you-
Let's hear what the people have
Hold
to
on,
say.
okay,
Everybody's
let me ask
pumped up
Jimmy, let
about
me-
this
okay,
AJ knockout.
I get it. Let me ask Jimmy this. Jimmy, do you... Well, I don't even know if he's there. Joshua Wilder, would it have finished the same way he did today? The way he iced Ngannou?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've always believed Joshua would smoke him. You know,
2 rounds, but he would have fucked. He beats up Wilder, especially now.
but you know, yeah.
Well, there was a reason that when Big Baby Miller, dropped out of that fight and they offered all that money, they actually did offer
exactly. After he's
somebody
been pounded out
They
by
actually
Fury.
did do a $50 million offer to somebody, and he really did turn it down. And they let Andy Ruiz go out there, and he did what he did.
Yeah. Actually, wasn't it a 123 fight deal?
Yeah. Oh, bro, come on.
Earl Stevens says the difference is Wilder would have twerked a little on the way down. Okay, come on, that makes no sense. How the fuck is he gonna twerk on the way down? But yeah, listen, Wilder. I mean, we don't even know when he's gonna fight next. There hasn't been an announcement. Apparently, supposedly they were saying that he was gonna. There was a rumor of a certain guy he was gonna face. I forget. Do you guys know who he was gonna face? There was a rumor that he was gonna come back.
No.
Wilder?
Yeah, he was gonna fight some guy from his hometown.
Some guy from his hometown. He was gonna
Really?
He was gonna fight a guy that owes him money.
Some bomb.
I think it was his brother.
That's the rumor is that his brother, something was going on, some brouhaha between him and his brother. I think his brother was banging his wife or something. I don't know. It's outside the
It
ring
wasn't
drama.
Wilder fight Ngannou. Fuck it.
He was banging his brother's wife. Wilder was.
Not just his brother's wife, but prior girlfriends too. I guess he said it's been a career of that, like fucking his younger brother over.
He always fucks me, bitch.
Chris K in the chat. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says Jake Paul will be convicted of elder abuse. Oh, well, that's the fight that just got announced a couple of days ago. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Some people are saying it's going to be a mismatch for Jake
I think Jimmy's
Paul.
gonna buy that. No, I think Jimmy's gonna buy that fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. He already bought it. He already pre-ordered it months in advance.
Hey,
But yeah,
that'll
some
just
people
pretty much end him. Imagine if Tyson sleeps him, that'd be great.
I'm rooting for
Imagine,
I'm rooting
man.
for that, man. Yeah, I'm rooting for that.
I just hope that Mike Tyson turns 30 again and just literally like puts him
For 30 seconds.
puts him in the eternal life.
Well, some people are saying that but Jake Paul's roided against a 60-year-old. You don't think Tyson's roided right now as well? I think so.
Yeah,
and if
he
he's not, he should be. If not, he should be, man.
No, he's roided. Mike Tyson's roided.
Good.
Remember he was fat as fuck and he was in the Oprah show with Holyfield? You know that Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he starts getting in fucking shape. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What's going on?
At his age, he won't take steroids, but what he will take at his age would be he would take growth hormone and EPO. That's what he would
HGH for
take.
sure.
Whatever he's taking.
And EPO is awesome, but it's also the most dangerous. It's actually better than any steroids for a boxer, by far. But it's also the most dangerous.
Yeah, because of the blood getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the blood
clots and shit. Yeah, actually, multiple Tour de France cyclists have died from it.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah, but the Tyson thing is Tyson was really on a down spiral. In fact, a lot of people said, I remember when he retired in 2005, some people were saying, okay, he's going to croak in the next 10 years. Meanwhile, he's outlived guys like Gatti, Corrales. Shit, he outlived Marvin Hagler.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I thought he would get killed or he'll kill himself. That's what I always thought.
He turned it around. He mellowed out. He started working out. That always helps as well. And, his family keeps him stable. And, of course...
I know something, BDA. Mike Tyson almost got killed. He almost did get killed. I'm not saying there would have not been some consequences back, but the guy was willing to kill him. There was a guy willing to kill Mike Tyson.
Was his name recognized, or what are we talking about here?
No. Come on, man. Don't spread that. Come on, man. Apologize.
I'm just asking because you said there's a guy. There was a guy. Hey, by the way, Mitch Green was on Twitter.
Kill me like on the middle of the street.
Mitch Green was on Twitter saying, I don't know if it's the real Mitch Green, but he had a check mark and everything, the blue check mark. This dude, if it is the real Mitch Green, he's calling out Mike Tyson. He's saying, "Why you find that boy Jake Paul? You should find me." Shit. And meanwhile, Mitch Green is close to 70, I think. He's older than Tyson. So.
Mitch Green is like legit 60. Mike is like what, 56, 57, somewhere around there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's
Mr.
insane.
BDA,
Man.
can you please repeat that Mitch Green impersonation?
Nah, come on. I know there's no whatchamacallem. I can't do it twice.
He's definitely 70s recognized. Mitch Green. Yeah, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
I want Mike Tyson, Jack.
Yeah, I hear him talk. I mean, the guy, I think he was functionally retarded, and I'm just being honest. Wasn't the brightest bulb.
He was a nut job. So I can't imagine all the fights.
Dude, think about how crazy he was. He moved from Detroit, which is the fucking slums, right? To go live in Harlem back in the 80s, which was another fucking slum. But at least like the slum that in Detroit, he was from there. So he just went to Harlem and just said, I'm gonna live here.
Recognize it's better the slum you know, right?
Right, exactly. But no, here's the funny thing. Everybody loves him over there in Harlem. Where he moved at, all those dudes respect him. They all treated him like
Green is the dude he punched in the face outside that man haberdashery place like at 4:00 in the morning, right?
Yeah,
it was eye open.
It was in Harlem. Yeah, it was in Harlem.
Hey, by the way, fellas, the phone lines are open, so make sure to call in, give us your thoughts on all the fights. Don't forget to hit that like. It really helps us out. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 773. 773, you're on the air. 773, what's on your mind? Yes, 773, go ahead.
What up? Let's get right down to it. I heard Todd Grisham, his own commentator. Is Joshua the best heavyweight in the world? And one of the English commentators, dead silence. And he's kind of chuckling like, you forgetting he lost twice to Usyk? The dude's got 3 belts on his waist. You forgetting that one, you dickhead? It's a joke. It's a joke. Then he got Eddie Hearn running around. He sounded like he did with Callum Smith when he fought Beterbiev. Oh, when Callum Smith beats Beterbiev, then we'll have a unification with him and Bivol. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? It's just like complete disrespect to Usyk, the dude. What else this guy got to do, man? What else this guy got to do? And I said, this AJ beats this AJ. This is different. Shut the fuck up. Fuck you. Usyk is the best. Fucking dickheads. That's a fact. Don't ever disrespect Usyk again, because he's proved himself time and time again. He doesn't run his mouth like these other clowns from the West. He's just a straight-up gangster Eastern European who don't play games. And he's going to punk all you bitch-ass haters. That's just fact.
All right, that was K-Dog right there. Kevin from Chicago, keeping it short and concise. And I can't believe somebody would say that. I mean, yeah, you just heard me say AJ is one of the top 3 heavyweights. But, I mean, it's clearly now it's Usyk and Fury. Whoever wins that one, of course, beyond a doubt. So beating Ngannou does not make you the best heavyweight in the world. But, I mean, maybe they were saying that to sort of try to justify the fact that Joshua was in there with him in the first place. I don't know. Let's go on a phone call here. Let's go to, who's next here? Let's go to 918. 918, you're on the air. 918, what's on your mind?
Yo, finally. Oh my God, I'm so happy it actually fucking happened. You know what I mean? This is what Fury should have done. Pillow-fisted Floyd Mayweather took out Conor McGregor. He's taken out kickboxers before. I don't know why Fury couldn't. I think anybody who's making excuses, Fury just, he wasn't ready. He wasn't taking him seriously. Those are just excuses. It just makes boxing look even worse than it already is. But I mean, I said it before the fight. I said it again. Usyk's the best heavyweight right now. AJ doing what Fury couldn't exposes him even further. I said it. I think I just said in my the previous call when I put in my on my prediction, which I was wrong. Thankfully, AJ didn't go into a boring decision. He actually knocked this man out, which is what should have happened with Fury. Again, pillow-fisted Floyd Mayweather stopped Conor. Why couldn't Fury do the same?
Well, let me just say
that's just my opinion. That's all I really got to say.
Well, I mean, when it comes to Fury, though, you say, "Oh, that's an excuse that he was out of shape." But come on, man, the guy was out of shape. You can call it an excuse, you can call it a smorgasbord, whatever. But it's a fact.
But here's the thing, though, is Mayweather took out of shape Mayweather also took out a kickboxer, Tekeru, or Tenshin, whatever the frick his name is. He took him out too. He knocked him out in like the fourth or second round. After Tenshin or whatever his name was, Japanese kickboxer, hurt him once. Floyd took him out. He was also out of shape. So it's like, again, Fury has no excuse. His only excuse is just he's an overhyped bum. That's really what he is.
I agree that he's overhyped, but to say that him being out of shape had nothing to do with it, and Floyd Mayweather is Floyd Mayweather. I mean, it's apples and oranges here. We're talking about heavyweight. By the way, that kickboxer that he beat, I mean, okay, that wasn't that short guy. You're talking about the other dude, right? The most recent one? Because I know he stopped.
Yeah, the most recent one. Yeah, the most recent one. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I was confusing him with the other kickboxer, but yeah, the most recent one. Yeah, I think the most recent one was like a 140-year guy. He's like he's like a lightweight or something like that, featherweight in MMA, which is like 155, 145er. But still, I mean, he got taken out by Mayweather, old man Mayweather, out of shape, who's a natural 147er at best.
Yeah, but I mean, is Mayweather? Are you saying Fury should be in the class of a Mayweather?
No, I'm saying that if Mayweather could do it, pretty easily without much difficulty, and Fury, who's supposed to be the best heavyweight of all time, he's supposed to be the number one person in the division, couldn't do it. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
That's what I'm saying. Is anybody who's making? I'm just saying. Anybody who's making excuses, anybody who's saying, "Oh, Fury, best heavyweight ever." Okay, well, why didn't you take out Ngannou?
Yeah, no, that's true though. The people that said that before the fight, that he's the best and he crushes everybody, especially after the Usyk versus Dubois fight. A lot of Fury fans were starting to feel their oats, saying, "Oh, you see, Fury quit against Dubois. Fury's gonna make him, he's gonna paste him." And then Fury goes on and looks awful against Ngannou. So it was a little bit of payback, for sure.
Right.
Was I recognized?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Recognize, you got to mute yourself. I think Recognize in the boat.
I'm on the boat, man. I'm on the same boat.
I'm going to mute Recognize. He's in the bodega. Sorry about that. All right, sorry about that, caller. Anything else you want to say?
No. Also, I ain't gonna lie. I think a lot of people underrated Parker, and I think a lot of us also overrated Zhang. So that was interesting to see. I mean, it was a pretty boring fight, but hey, at least it was interesting in the outcome. And also, me personally, I think Vargas with his ass style, no bueno. That year layoff killed him even harder. He's Mexican. He ain't supposed to use that ass style. Ain't no Mexican in my household gonna use that.
You know what? I'm gonna look into him. I'm gonna look into him, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna try to get some DNA from him, a hair sample or something. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back that he's not Mexican, because the way he fights is just I don't believe it. All right. All right, man. Take care.
All right, God bless
you, man. You too, man. Take it easy, man. All right. Yeah, I remember this caller, and we were talking about how maybe Joshua would stink it out against Ngannou, and I saw that as a real possibility, but I'm glad that didn't happen, because that would have been boring. I mean, again, $40, it's not that much, but it's still, you expect a guy to close the show, and I'm glad that's what AJ did. Let's go to, fellas, don't forget, hit that like. It really helps us out, all right,
Hit the like or we're shutting it down. Hit the like or we're shutting it down.
There you go. Butcher with the ultimatums. And, I got to concur. Let's go to their phone call here. Let's go to 336. 336, you're on the air. 336, what's on your mind?
Happy International Toilets Day, BDA and Baby Bucho. It's a very, very great day to be a woman. And secondly, with the Zhang fight, I had it 114, 112, or like 113, 113 a draw, and all those just copy box bullshit. And Zhang got outworked, but Parker was not really landing much authoritative punches at all. He was punching gloves, shoulders, all that shit a lot of the time. And whenever Zhang punched, he landed consistently, and he landed the more hard-killing punches. Now, I know Zhang gave away the last 4 rounds of the fight, but that 115-111 scorecard was an absolute fucking joke. 9 rounds to 3 for Parker was a fucking disaster. And I had it 5 rounds to 3 or 6 rounds to 2 after 8. I really did. I thought, and Zhang out-jabbed the shit out of Parker, and his jab was landing at will at times in the middle rounds, and he had those horse-tooth fucks, saying Parker's doing all this shit, Zhang's not doing anything, when Zhang's the only one landing the clean fucking punches in those rounds. It was just a disaster. So, yeah, terrible scorecards, for sure. If it was like 114, 112, Parker isn't too horrible. I still think that's pretty trash. I think at most he only won 7 rounds, if you're being generous. So yeah, but Zionism is number 1, and China's number 2. That's why they got fucked over. So like I said, Bucho keeps fighting an uphill battle, but China will never be number 1. And now going into the ball fight, I had ball winning too, like 114, 112, with the 2 knockdowns. I had it 6 rounds apiece. But it sucks that they let that Crip style have get a draw out of it. Because what ended up happening, I think, and why that happened is the money line was even going into that fight, and so there was a lot of people betting both ways because it was such a pick 'em fight, and then they just get cucked on the cards with the draw. So that's kind of how I saw it. And you could see that the scorecards were really wide. You had one that was really wide for Ball, one that was really wide for Vargas, I think, and then you just had a draw down the middle. So that makes me think there was some corruption involved to fuck over bettors on that fight. I really do. Yeah, trash, disaster. And it fucks up the unification fight with Venado for supremacy at featherweight, because Ball versus Venado would have been a much more exciting fight than Vargas versus Venado. So just shit all around, Shit cards, shit judges, shit sport. And that's about it.
All right, well, listen, thank you for your call, Dora, and call back next, all right? Take it easy out there.
Yeah, talk to you later, Connie Liker, BD.
Yeah, the scorecards were all over the place. That's true, though. The Ball fight, the Zhang fight, I can only imagine what would have happened had Joshua-Ngannou gone to the courts. You never know. By the way, though, fellas, don't forget to hit the like. It really helps us out. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're in the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Gentlemen, I called that fight a couple of days ago when I called in. This just proves my point that Fury is a overhyped bag of milk that wasn't really that great to begin with, in my opinion. I think his best fight was that win over Klitschko, and that was like in 2018 or something, or longer.
9 years ago.
Than that.
9 years ago. Yeah.
2016. That was God damn. That's it, man. I mean, this AJ looked good. I think, like I said, Ben Davidson studies tape. I think they were working. I saw them working on that overhand right. I saw them working on the mitts. I saw them doing it. And if you saw some of the prelims before the fight, they were in the dressing room. He's just like working on that overhand right and moving laterally. So Francis Ngannou is there to get hit. He's got no defense, and he was biting on every feint. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised it ended that quick. I thought it would at least end in the middle of the fight, but I knew he was going to knock him out. I mean, there's just no way this guy was going to make it with a precision guy like Joshua. He's got the power. Yeah, did you see Fury's face after the fight? I mean, he just looked like he's shitting his pants. He didn't look too good. He didn't look very comfortable at all. The Parker fight, I gave it to Parker. I thought he had ring generalship. I think everything that Zhang was doing, he was just reacting to Parker. Parker had control of the fight. He kept him at distance. There were moments, he got dropped, but those were, you notice how the 2 punches that he got dropped by were close. They were they were more mid-range or inside. They were like short punches, and he started keeping him at a distance. He controlled the pace of the fight. Yes, he got caught twice. But overall, the guy doesn't have much in his tool belt, in his toolbox, and I'm glad Joseph Parker won that fight. I kind of thought he would edge it out in a decision. So the fucking Vargas fight was fucking horrible, dude. The guy just. Fuck! I really don't want to see that guy fight again if he's going to fight like that.
Would it be fair to say?
I don't know what else to say, but yeah.
Would it be fair to say, like some people were saying that his style is as unattractive as his? Is that a fair comparison, or is that a fair thing to say? What do you think?
I think I think his style is about as attractive as the pimples on his back.
Come on.
Yeah, I would say that.
I was gonna eat some soup afterwards.
Listen, I fucking yelled out loud. I was at work and I was watching the fight and I'm like, oh my god, this is great. He didn't get knocked he didn't get he got folded like a lawn chair. I felt bad for him because it's not that I dislike Ngannou. I don't dislike the guy. I would have been happy if either guy won. But man, that was a brutal knockout. And he kept setting up that overhand. He kept going to the body. I rewatched the fight right after, and I'm like, he's just going to the body, setting up that overhand right. He didn't have to set up the overhand when he switched southpaw because he just did it straight, and that was good enough. But he kept setting up that overhand right. He kept setting it up, and it just finally worked out on the first knockdown in the second round. And then that knockout was just. It was like it reminded me of that knockout with George Foreman. He just casually walked over and just threw a punch and just folded the dude. So yeah, I called it when I called in the other day. I was pretty much expecting what I saw.
Well,
so
it was worth the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I
that's
agree
for
with.
Sure. It was worth the pay-per-view, man. That's for sure.
I agree with. I agree with one of the callers that called in before Dora. That Usyk is the man. His victory is aging very well. AJ's victories are also aging. I don't know if somebody said that too. I agree with that as well. So anyway, guys, pretty good fights. Not too disappointed, but you guys have a good one.
It was good. You too, man. Thank you, Don Madrazo. Thank you for your call. Yeah, hey, by the way, shout out to hold on a second. Who is it? Yeah, shout out to Never Sobers for his contribution, actually joining the BD membership program. Shout out to Sobers. He says, question to the panel in chat. Did Joshua salvage heavyweight boxing's reputation with that knockout? How would the energy be here without that brutal knockout? That's a good question. It's a good question. We're going to return to that after the calls here. And shout out to Dark Hate Dog for becoming a member as well. So we got two initiates here. Two anointed. The ritual will begin after the show, so make sure you get your tickets. All right, listen, we're going to get to more phone calls here. Don't forget to hit that like, fellas. Hit that like, hit that like, hit that like, hit that like. Where are we at with the likes? We're at 83 likes, so we need 17 likes. Otherwise, 16 now. 16, otherwise we're out of here. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 470. 470, you're on the air. 470, what's on your mind?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, 470, what's up?
Good. So, Joshua and Ngannou. I think that Tyson Fury's performance it really made boxing look bad. And I know the narrative is that Fury didn't train, he wasn't in shape. But if you looked at Fury's face and the way he's been acting, since he's been in Saudi Arabia this past week, I don't know. I get the impression he really tried. He did what he could do. And the fight came out how it came out, because when he saw what Joshua did, he looked in shock. Joshua pretty much one-shot drilled that 275-pound beast. Joshua, here's the thing, right? Joshua, Usyk, and Parker, you can put Zhang in there too. They're the really only men of honor in the heavyweight division. These are the guys who will just fight anybody. They don't make excuses. They get in the ring and fight. And it's looking like the PSYOP. I call it a PSYOP because it started in 2018 between Wilder and Fury, where they fought each other 3 times. They acted like Anthony Joshua was below them because they didn't want to fight him. and they succeeded especially in America, they succeeded in convincing the public that they were the two guys, and Joshua wasn't on their level, and that was helped when Joshua lost to Ruiz, and then his performances against Usyk. But it looks like it's all coming to an end, because based on what I saw with AJ and based on everything we've seen over the past few years, Usyk is that guy. So, I mean, Tyson Fury has delayed. He's gotten out of fights. He's delayed and delayed. I just think that this all comes to an end on May 18th.
We shall see.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, definitely. It's been. Hold on a second. What? Sobers, you saying something?
I said, is this the popcorn and cerveza guy?
The popcorn and cerveza guy.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go.
The one that called in and said that that say that you guys will pop open your cervezas and eat your popcorn and pay your $75 to watch Canelo fight anybody.
Oh, that. Okay.
I said it. Is you right?
Oh man! All right, what's your point? Yeah, what's your point, Sobers?
I just want to know. Because I recognize.
I think it is. I think he said yes. Coley, did you say yes?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're talking about Joshua here. Yeah. Listen, the Joshua, it's worked out in a way that some people say boxing. Oh, boxing, they never make the big fights. Hey, Fury Usyk, and I'm still knocking on wood, hoping that fight happens because you never know. But hey, the best are fighting the best. So I think it's a bit of a myth too when people say, "Oh, boxing, we never get the best against the best." I mean, just look at 2023. You telling me we didn't get the best? I think we gotta put a stop to that too. All right, well, listen, caller, we gotta move on here.
Yeah.
But thank you for your call. Call back next time, right?
Quick comment.
Sure.
Is that dude offended? Is that dude offended by the word cerveza? Isn't cerveza Spanish for beer? Are you offended by that?
Did I say I was offended? Did I say something offensive to you, bro?
No, you sounded like you was in your feelings. I'm just asking you a question. Were you offended?
No, I just thought it was interesting. I just thought it was interesting how when BDA brought it up to you last time, you're like, I didn't say that. I never said that. And you know what I mean? And then BDA posted it short, and now you're like, yeah, that's me. I'm that guy.
What I said.
And now you're stuttering. Now you're stuttering.
What I said was, I didn't. No. I didn't use the term Mexican.
Yes.
That's what I didn't say. That's what I didn't say. I did say that you guys would be happy to drink your cervezas and order the pay-per-view on May 5th. That's what I said.
Okay, cool.
So I just wanted to clear that up.
You said you didn't say no. You're saying it, cool, bro. That's all.
I don't want to get into all that. I just called to talk about the fight. You guys keep up the show.
Now let's talk about Canelo, man. Let's talk about Canelo. No, I'm kidding. All right, listen. Thank you for your. All right, thank you for your call, caller. Call back next time. All right.
All right. Take care.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't drink. When you're on the true path of the Crimson Cross, no alcohol, no drugs, no hard sex. If
I don't touch alcohol.
If you do have sexual intercourse, you gotta do it fast. All I'm saying is, if you're on the true path, when you do have intercourse, you're supposed to do it as quickly as possible. In and out. That's it.
I don't like beer, BDA. I like Mad Dog 2020.
What? I don't even know what that is.
You're supposed to do it through a sheet.
I mix that with a little bit of hypnotic. You know what I mean?
All right. I don't know where this is going. By the way, I like how Sobers tries to turn this into. He's like he tries to turn this into some antagonistic back to Canelo thing.
Hey, aren't you the guy?
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you something.
He's like, I didn't say it.
You said the thing.
Yeah.
You're good at recognizing voices. God damn.
Yeah, no, never sober. No, he is slick with that. That's why I always ask him, because he can always pick these guys out.
No, didn't you say this back in 1987? Yeah, that was you.
You're the one who called him out on it, and then I went back and listened to it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then BDA made it short. I was like, oh, it's undeniable now.
We'll get back to that if we have to. But
Dan Raphael told me he did it, so.
All right.
I mean, he said it. Dan Raphael's my source.
I gotta get to the phone calls here. 856, you're on the air. 856, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Going on, gentlemen, brother recognize Mr. BDA. How you doing?
We're doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well, man. What's up?
So I'd just like to announce the winners of tonight. So tonight, whoever won were the airlines, the hotels, the vendors, all those different things. They all won tonight to waste everybody's time tonight for like rounds of nonsense. the boxing guys have righted this so we can avoid this going forward. The sad thing is, this fight might have more views and ratings than the actual heavyweight unification bout. But all in all, like I said, boxing fans won the night. And again, I'd like to congratulate the vendors, the hotels, the airlines, and the assholes that spent their money to go out there for literally nothing. So, yeah.
What about the hookers? Can't forget the hookers. There's got to be hookers in Saudi Arabia. It's just that they're well hidden.
Well, like you said, in and out as soon as possible. As long as you repent, then it's all good. So, like I said, shout out to them too. They won.
That's what I'm saying. You see, we got to get... Are you on the true path as well? Are you acquainted with the Crimson Priest?
No.
Or?
Something like that. I'm a 5% of peace guard. You know what I mean? Like, same thing. You know, I don't drink enough. I smoke a little bit of weed, but you know, I don't drink enough like that.
You know what? I've had black Israelites call in before. I don't think I've ever had a 5%er. That's when did you become a 5%er?
Oh, okay, knowledge of self. Probably when I was like 24.
Interesting. Yeah, you should drop over by the Second Renaissance. I'm always in need of talking to different people about it.
Well, recognize will know what it is. He's from New York City, so most of the guards is up there, so he wouldn't know what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, you're essentially you're a Muslim, but you believe that you're the elite of the elite, right?
Not in a sense, you know. I just believe, like, you know, we're children of the sun. We're the first man. You know, that's pretty much that. But you know, I don't think we're better than anybody. I think what I do believe, if you have knowledge of self, and you know, and you regardless if you're Christian, whatever you do, as long as you walk on the path of righteousness or the crimson cross, hey, you know what I'm saying, you can't lose. I think it's the same thing at the end of the day.
Well, let me tell you, you can lose if you're on the true path of the Crimson Cross. It's a perilous journey. It's the road less traveled, but that's what makes it exciting. That is the part of the tenets of that movement. But anyway, listen, caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, man, listen, you need to repent and lay off them hookers, man. Listen, I love y'all. Y'all have a good night.
All right, caller, thank you for your call, and call back next time. I mean, take it easy out there. All right. And Sobers, I believe he was speaking to you about the hooker thing. Nah, I'm kidding. Nah, I'm kidding.
Fuck them, they got no souls.
Come on, the hookers, come on, man. You said that about the porn stars. Now you're saying about the hookers too, that they got no souls. Come on.
Well, any woman who sells her cooch for $1 belongs to the streets.
Hey, another porn star just died, by the way, I believe, a couple of days ago. They're dropping
I had
like flies.
nothing to do with that shit.
Well, I didn't see you did. All right.
Sorry.
Let's go to another phone call. This is starting to get incriminating here. Let's go to 404. 404, you're there. 404, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? This Coach Eddie from Atlanta, Georgia. What's happening?
Oh, Coach Eddie, what's up, man?
Man, I just wanted to chime in. First of all, I want to say respect to you, brother, for following the one and only true Savior, which is Jesus Christ.
That's right.
The one only path, you know what I'm saying? You know, he who comes to God must believe that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So if you continue to seek God, he will reveal himself to you. Second of all, I just want to chime in on the fight, man. Want to chime in on the fight, man. AJ looked phenomenal tonight. I think he looked like he should look against a MMA fighter. But not only that, he looked like his confidence is back. He looks more powerful than I've seen him in a very, very long time. I think Ben Davis is a good match for him. And right now, if him and Tyson Fury was to fight, I would strongly favor Anthony Joshua to knock Tyson Fury out.
Whoa!
And I would put a whole lot of money on that.
You heard it right there from Coach Eddie.
Go ahead.
No, I said you heard it right there from Coach Eddie. You're saying you have AJ, you have a strong feeling he ices Tyson Fury.
Oh, easy. Tyson Fury is a big, huge target. He's not like a Usyk. Usyk is slippery. You know, he's able to move, maneuver, cut those angles, kept Anthony Joshua turning. You know what I'm saying? He outthought him. You know, he used his mind to beat Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury, he's a diminished version of himself. He's chinny now because definitely can't take a punch. You touch him, he's gonna fall like a sack of potatoes. And if Anthony Joshua hits him with any of those right hands that he hit Francis with, he won't get up. He'll be asleep, no doubt. Because he's a big target. You know what I mean? Right now, with Ben Davidson in his corner, he's gonna be tough to beat, man. He's gonna be tough to beat. He's on his game. He's looking real sharp right now, and I don't see anybody beating him at this particular time. It's gonna be real tough. Like I say, Tyson Fury getting there with him, he's going to sleep, man. No doubt.
We shall see, indeed. We shall see. Well, we'll see. Hey, Usyk has to get past Fury first. We have to get through that one, and I'm not convinced. I'm not 100% sure Usyk pulls it off. I think he's a favorite, but I don't know. We'll see what happens there, man.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, Coach Eddie, before we move on?
Oh no, not right on, man. Say Usyk, Usyk might take care of the business. Usyk may knock him out. Usyk is. They keep saying that he's not a heavyweight, but he has some pop in those hands, man. Any guy 225, 230 pounds hit you can definitely go. So he might knock Tyson Fury out. You never know in the heavyweight division, man. But that's all I got to say, brother. Y'all stay blessed, stay up, man.
Same to you there, Coach Eddie. Have a good one. Take it easy out there.
Yes, sir.
All right, a lot of pious calls, let me tell you. I like it. And it's not even Sunday, but I like it. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 945. 945, you're on the air. 945, what's on your mind? What the fuck?
Good afternoon, brothers. This is Real Talk Boxing calling in. I want to say God bless to everybody.
Same to you. Same to
boxing was vindicated tonight. AJ restored the honor of boxing and embarrassed Tyson Fury in the process. You could not ask for a better night. I think Fury officially announces his retirement after Usyk parks his foot in his ass. And I don't think there's anything Fury's going to be able to do to combat Usyk. He's just going to be too fast, too slippery, too accurate. And I have a feeling it's going to play out a lot like the, what's that motherfucker, that pirate motherfucker sounding, Tony Bellew. Yeah, it's gonna play out a lot like Tony Bellew's fight.
Interesting. You saying he's gonna beat him up? In other words.
Yeah, he's gonna put hands on him, man. He's gonna really like demoralize Fury. Like I don't think he's gonna even want to do a rematch.
Well, we shall see. Indeed, we shall see. Indeed. I mean, it sounds what you're saying sounds plausible, based on what we've seen in the last 14 months. Anything else you want to say there, Real Talk?
No, man. Just God bless everybody walking the path of the Crimson Cross. Salute and God bless, brother.
Salute, man. Take it easy out there. That's right. See, I'm telling you, hey, I think it's time we start a movement. People are starting to. There's something in the air today.
You're the bishop.
I'm not the bishop. Anyway, I don't want to get into that right now. Let's go to the phone call here. Let's go to 347. 347, you're in the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's NPR.
Oh, NPR guy, what's up?
Good, man. Well, the AJ fight, was boring in a different kind of way because I kind of expected it. I didn't expect it to be that early, but I'm glad Fury got embarrassed because he's been clowning way too much. The fact is he is a very talented guy, but he's just been clowning. And it's a disgrace to the sport, to be honest with you. All the cancellations and all the whatever fake sparring sessions, and I don't believe any of this shit. It's too bad. But as far as Joseph Parker goes, Joseph Parker's still young. He's 31, and he is learning. I mean, he was doing moves in there. It was a terribly boring fight. It was a hand check battle. The whole freaking fight was a hand check battle, but boring as all hell. I mean, I was just getting up and making food watching the damn thing because it was so boring. I couldn't stand it, But anyway, I'm glad AJ got the win. There's a little bit of redemption after his showing for Usyk. Usyk schools Fury. That's my prediction now. I'm going to make it now.
Usyk schools Fury, and he does it by wearing him out. I don't think he has the gas to go the distance with Usyk. What do you guys think? What do you think, Jimmy?
Oh, me, I think Fury is going to lose. I thought Usyk would beat Fury even before Ngannou. I think the footwork and the movement and hit.
I think, like Jimmy, man. I think they got to fight at least twice for Fury to win, and depends on how bad he loses the first fight.
I was gonna say, I like how Jimmy answered. He started off his answer by saying Fury. He knows about showmanship. He made you think, "Oh, Fury, he's going with Fury," and then he goes, "Fury's gonna lose to Usyk." It's like, okay, I see where you're going. That's experience right there. Anything else in PR?
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought he not much else, guys. I usually end the session with saying Deus Vult. Thank you, and stay on the true path, gentlemen. God bless. Take it easy.
Same to you, NPR. Thank you for your call, man. I don't speak Latin, though, so I don't know what the hell that means. Anyone, Deus Vult? What is it, truth or something?
I mean, God wills it.
Oh, okay, there you go. You got to start brushing up on Latin here. How the fuck are we going to start a movement if we doesn't have any Latin? Latin makes everything sounds more ancient. But by the way, shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Ngannou pulled a Greg Louganis. Greg Louganis, that sounds familiar. Who the fuck was Louganis? What's the reference there?
He was a diver, Greg Louganis, an Olympic diver who's homosexual, who took steroids and bumped his head on the fucking up on the cement thing. Remember, he clipped his dome.
Oh, I think I've seen that on Fox back in the 90s. Fox best of,
Yeah, Greg Louganis.
Greg Louganis? He's a gay
Greg
guy named
Louganis. He came out of the fucking. Yeah, he came out off the. He was one of those dudes who came out, but I'm like, did anybody really think you were in? I mean, wasn't it obvious, dude?
I'm looking at pictures of the dude. He looks a little bit like Anthony Weiner. A little bit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put the pictures
dude
up.
was lighting the loafers, man, off the rip.
There you go. He gardened uphill, is what you're saying. All right, we gotta go to the phone call here. Let's go to 619. 619, you're in the air. 619. What's on your mind?
Hey, what up? What up, guys? How's it going? Jose.
Jose, I can barely hear you, man.
Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me now?
It sounds like you're far away, and it sounds like you're on the speakerphone. Please get off the speakerphone and turn down your speakers, because I can hear myself in the background there.
Can you hear me?
And I can hear you now. Better, much better. What's on your mind, Jose?
I had the Bluetooth on my car. I'm just doing the speaker. Yeah, well, I was just calling in. That was a nasty knockdown, man. That was very dangerous for Ngannou, the way he landed.
Good.
I don't know what you guys can recall if you guys compare it to another knockdown with his leg being, bent like that. After the second knockdown, man, he was already like concussed, man. I can tell. Even after the first one, man. So I think Joshua, he doesn't. I mean, it was a cool highlight on knockout, man, but. I mean, look who he wasn't fighting like a seasoned boxer, man. So I don't know how much credit you can give to that. Like Eddie Hearn was he got up off of his seat like if he was like if he knocked down like some world class boxer, man. Like that's just supposed to show you how watered down boxing has become, man. And also it highlights the fact that Tyson Fury is a bum, man. You know what I mean?
That seems to be the point of the day. Yeah, people are saying that Fury's a scoundrel.
Yeah, well, anyways, that's my take, guys. I can't hear that well because I'm driving. You guys have any update on Gonzalo? I haven't heard from him, so I'm kind of worried. My brother.
I've been hearing from him, but apparently he's got some issues, bureaucratic issues that he's going through. But I have heard from him. In fact, he's in the chat right now. He's in the chat right now, so he's okay there, Jose.
Okay, brother. Gonzalo, stay up, brother. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right, take it easy, Jose. Thank you for your call, man. All right, that was Jose right there. And yes, Gonzalo is in the I got to check with Gonzalo here. All right, anyway, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. Let's go on a phone call here. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, 323, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey, my name's Ulises, long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right.
I think it was a weird thing because I remember a long time ago the Fury-Joshua fight was like dead in the water.
Yeah, in
because of
2021.
the losses that Joshua had.
Yeah.
So my thing is the only promoters that fight in Saudi Arabia are the British promoters. So what they probably did is have Fury go there, do his mamada.
Oh.
And then have Joshua come here and knock him out because they want to make the big fight between Joshua and Fury.
I think that's the plan, yeah. Even like Bucho said too, even if Fury loses, they still make a Joshua fight and it still makes a lot of money.
Yeah, so the biggest fight in British boxing, and you have it in Saudi Arabia. They're getting the bag.
It's a business, man. Eddie Hearn's not looking necessarily to please everybody. He's looking to make the most money he can. And if the Saudis are gonna, it's the same thing, caller. It's the same thing that happened in the United States. There's a reason why fights started gravitating more towards Vegas and less towards homegrown grassroots fighters. Because the Vegas came up with the biggest purse or the biggest side fee, and these promoters go, well, fuck, New York, Boston, LA, they can't compete. That's where we're going. So it's something similar, except this time it's going all the way to Saudi Arabia.
No, you're right, and I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Well, that's what I had to say.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, I always enjoy listening to you guys, and you guys just keep you going, man. I love you guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Yeah, we appreciate your calls as well. Shout out to you. And let's go on our phone call. Let's go to 646. 646, you're on the air. 646. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on? It's Unbiased Brim. How you doing this evening?
We're doing fantastic here on Bias. Hope you're doing fantastic as well. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, it's just nice to see AJ do what Fury should have done and taken the fight seriously because, props to Ngannou for getting in the ring against two of the top three heavyweights, but the truth of the matter is he should have been in the ring with those guys because you saw the difference in, the pedigree. And I appreciate AJ taking the fight serious and doing what he was supposed to do. And as an American boxing fan, I don't think it's going to be the end-all, be-all, but I would like to see American boxing fans give AJ much more respect than they have in the past. Because not only has this man, been a champion, he lost his belts, got them back, lost them again, but instead of folding, he stayed dedicated to his craft, working and improving, looking for a way to be better as a boxer. And he showed his improvements over the last 11 months with his 4 fights. And I just hope that we give him the respect that is due, because I've always felt Wilder was overrated as a boxer. It was a one-trick pony. And, commend him to accomplish what he was able to accomplish based on that. But we need to give Anthony Joshua his due respect as a boxer. And I think Usyk's going to beat Fury, but if Fury somehow beats Usyk, that is going to be a gigantic fight, and I do think AJ is going to lay Fury out. I feel like Fury has disrespected the sport to some degree by, first of all, fighting Francis Ngannou when he should have been focused on doing everything to make the undisputed fight. But I felt like he was playing games, and all the fights that he did before the Ngannou fight showed me that he wasn't looking to actually make the undisputed fight. He was looking to get the biggest name possible with the least amount of resistance that can make him the most money. Fighting Dillian White and Anthony and Derek Chisora, the trilogy that nobody asked for, wasn't preparing him for an undisputed fight. So I felt like he disrespected the sport as a person that, has a title, and it's fitting that AJ did what he did. And hopefully, he goes in the ring. I know he's going to take the fight with Usyk serious, but it just comes to show,
that you don't play boxing. You know, and Fury's an excellent boxer, but I think he's disrespected the sport to some degree, and AJ kind of made it right, especially with a lot of MMA guys, you know, was crowning Ngannou because of the performance that Fury had. And I think it spoke more about Fury than Ngannou, obviously. But, you know, it's a lot of, boxing has been really active. You know, I don't know how to feel about the Bud and Eubanks. I don't like the fight, but I understand what he's trying to do. And then the Canelo Munguia. And looking at the dynamics of the Canelo Munguia fight, knowing what I know now, this was the fight to make if it wasn't Benavidez. He should not be fighting no one else but a Mexican. The reason why I tell you this, there's an event on the same day there, and it has every notable R&B act in the world. If he had fought a American fighter, the numbers, it would have been hurt. It made sense to make a Mexican versus Mexican fight in Vegas for that date based on what's going on in that area. And I appreciate you letting me talk and jump on, man. Keep doing your thing, and you have a blessed one, man. I appreciate you.
Well, all right. So, right back at you, Brim. Thank you for your call, and call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there.
Indeed. You too.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot about that. They announced Crawford. Well, I don't know if it's not announced yet, I don't believe, but that it's looking likely. Terence Crawford versus Chris Eubank, 160 pounds. That's an interesting fight. I'm always up to seeing somebody take it to Chris Eubank, because this guy, he fancies himself a professional boxer now. Well, now he's going to be fighting against the best guy he can ever dream of getting in there, even though it's a smaller guy. But anyway, we'll talk about that fight later. But yeah, that's the other thing, though. This boxing, it's like Fury did take this, you know, in a way, life and boxing, they're a game.
Because it is a game, guys. You want to think it's not, huh?
But if you look at it that way, but you're supposed to take it seriously. And I understand why people dislike Fury. I used to be a fan of his. I thought he was actually pretty centered. But then this past 12 months, he just started going down a dark path. You know, I actually had more respect for him when he was on drugs than was some of the shit he was doing in the last 12 months, circumventing fights and so forth. So that's my opinion on that. Fellas, who's still there? Recognize Jimmy Sobers, are you still there? Fellas? Now they're not here.
Yes.
All right, well.
Okay. I have myself on mute.
Yeah, I understand. Well, listen, I got to go to the latrines. So, is there anything you guys want to talk about? That Terence Crawford versus Chris Eubank. Some people are complaining about it. Some people are saying it's not a bad fight. What do you think? Crawford versus Eubank Jr.
Let's talk about it. That's the fight we all asked for. Weren't you talking about you wanted to see that fight for the last 2 years, Jimmy?
Actually, I was calling for it.
Everyone saying that's what they wanted to see.
But honestly, here's the thing: if Chris Eubank was 140. A 147 fighter or 154, I'd be like, fuck out of here, this guy. But because the only thing that makes it slightly intriguing, right, is Crawford going up to 160. He's going up 2 weight divisions to fight him. And that's what that's what Eubank needs to keep, he needs every advantage he gets because, you say if they were both in the same division, it'd be a fucking complete mismatch, money grab. As it stands, I still think Crawford beats him, probably even stops him. Because Crawford's a strong dude, even 147, he melts down. He's probably only going to be fighting about 10 pounds below his walking around weight, if not even maybe less. Probably only walks around about 168, probably 170 tops. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see his speed, his hand speed at that weight. So that's what I'm curious in. Eubank is Eubank. Like BDA said, I'm just happy to see somebody smack that fuck. What do you say?
I say that's it's a semi-interesting fight. I wouldn't really complain about it, but like all the people who lodge all their complaints at someone like Canelo or they say like Davis. I don't even. We're talking about might not even fight that guy Frank Martin no more. He might fight Rayo. That'd be kind of a joke of a fight, and this is kind of a fight that's kind of like no one's asking for. Right, but I do think it's interesting though, Jimmy, because I think Crawford is going up to test the weight. I think he might be trying to chase a Canelo fight. And he's dipping his toes up in a weight. You know what I mean? At 160.
That's what it is. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So I think that makes it very interesting, right? But I don't know. Chris Eubank he's younger than him, ain't he? He's like what,
Yeah,
34?
yeah, just a couple of
33?
years. He's got no wars under him. Obviously, his father's made sure of that.
Yeah, and he's naturally pretty fast. He's a big, strong dude, bro. He might be able to really sting Crawford. So yeah, I do think it'd be an interesting fight. But it's kind of a very random one though, to be honest, but not a bad one. And interesting what I see what him trying to do in the future with it. You know what I mean? Like going up in weight.
Yeah, this is definitely testing the waters for Canelo, without a doubt. Which is smart, which I said he needed to do.
I just checked the records real quick. I just checked the record. Yeah, you're right. Crawford is 36. Eubank Jr. is 34. I don't know why. Whenever I think of Eubank Jr., I always think of him as a 28-year-old. No, you're right. He doesn't even have that much of a youth advantage over Crawford.
Well, remember he lost his pen when he was supposed to fight Triple G. That was 7 years ago.
Nah, that was a good choice.
Time flies when you're bitter, huh?
Yeah, man, but that was a good choice, Jimmy. Usually when people lose something, it's a bad thing. This time it was a godsend to lose that pen against before signing the contract against Golovkin. But that's the thing, though.
Oh, yeah, he would have smashed his face in.
The thing
seeing
is,
how Liam Smith. Oh my bad, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was like looking at the way Liam Smith dropped him. I could only imagine what Triple G would have done. That's all I was gonna say.
No, you're right. And against Crawford, okay, look, yeah, Crawford's 147, but he looks like a middleweight in there, and he says so himself. He walks around at 170 something. And Chris Eubank, really, what does he bring to the table against a guy like Crawford? Okay, he might have a size advantage. He's a pretty wide guy. You can tell he doesn't skim on the pull-ups. He might hit harder. Let's say he hits harder, and he's got good hand speed. Technique-wise, he's very hittable. When Billy Joe Saunders and George Groves can punch at you and win a decision, I have no doubts that Crawford could do something very similar. And then on top of that, I do believe Crawford's power could carry somewhat to 160, at least enough to stun and even stop a guy like Eubank Jr. Am I wrong here, fellas? What do you think?
No, 100% right. Because remember, a lot of Crawford's power isn't even so much that it's power; it's just you don't see the punches coming because he knows when to throw them.
Exactly.
It's not just what punch you throw; it's when you throw it, and he always throws it at the right time.
That he can throw from where, like you said, they can't see it, so he gets good leverage on it because of the length, and also because he can throw them from, like you said, they're so long he can throw them from where they can't see him.
Yep. Remember when he caught Spence with that counter? It was the second knockdown, and he caught him with that counter hook. Like Spence was actually landing on him. Spence was all probably like, "Oh, I got him!" Then boom, he got caught with that counter. Yeah, he just hides his punches well. He has excellent punch selection, and he knows how to hide them. So, speed kills and accuracy. He's got that in buckets, and he's feeling his oats right now after that Spence fight. Although it's going to be probably a year close to it by the time he gets in the ring. So that's pretty fucked up.
Well, like you said, though, speed kills, power thrills, but timing beats all.
Oh, that's a good one right there. And I got to tell you,
I coined that one on your show, actually.
I don't recall that. Hey, maybe you stole it from me. How about that? Because I come up with so many gems.
I'll take that. I probably talked to you offline and I stole it from you. I'll take that.
You got that shit copyrighted, Chief? Because we'll fucking take it from you.
That's right. Yeah, I'm a leech, man. No, but I'll listen with Chris Eubank Jr. It's again, he's got size. He's got relatively good hand speed. He can crack. I've always been a fan of his uppercuts, but it's gonna take a little bit more than an uppercut to beat a guy like Terence Crawford. And therein lies a problem with Chris Eubank. He's fancied himself a boxer in the last couple of performances. He did pretty well, I guess, against Liam Williams, even though he backfoot bashed it, but he did drop the dude about 4 times. Actually, took less damage than Demetrius Andrade did against Liam Walsh. No, excuse me, did I say Liam Williams? Yeah, Liam Williams. Yeah, that big puncher dude. But other than that's the big problem with Chris Eubank. What's he going to do? I don't think he outboxes Crawford from the outside. And if he takes it to him, which again, Chris Eubank has a good inside game, but that would mean that he would have to walk through Crawford's counterpunching, and Crawford's proven that right now that if you jump on him and your defense is leaky, defective, deficient, it ain't gonna end well for you. So Yeah, I don't see.
What happens if it breaks? What happens if it breaks out into an old fucking school dance off? He starts throwing out some of them fucking choreographed mitt dancing. He's fucking. There's nobody who can hang with him.
Yeah, but Crawford can he can cut the ring off. I've seen him do it against Dirigeant and against who was Felix? What's the guy's name there? The gold medalist, Dominican guy. At 140. Yeah, he started back foot bitching it a little bit in the later rounds, and Crawford was cutting the ring off very well. So I would hope that he would be able to corner Chris Eubank. But you're right. Maybe Chris Eubank says, you know what, I want to make him come to me, and so that way I can catch him with my power. Which I don't know. Maybe he could go 12 rounds doing his Verishkinov impersonation. I don't know. Maybe, man.
Well, looking at the stats though. He's taller at 5'11", Chris Eubank, versus the 5'8" to 5'9" of Terrence Crawford. And now BoxRec doesn't give armpit to the end of the fist like HBO used to, but even without armpit to the end of the fist, Crawford's 74-inch reach, whereas Eubank is 72.5. So that implies, since neither one of them have the back of Arnold Schwarzenegger, that Crawford's got longer arms.
Jeez Louise. That's insane because Crawford, that's insane because Eubank does look like he's got long ass arms, and the fact that Crawford's got an inch advantage over him at 74. Geez, Louise, Crawford's arms.
Yep.
Did he get put on the rack?
So tough to beat.
Did he get put on the rack when he was growing up or something? Like did they stretch him out little by little when he was growing up? How did he get?
Well, Bomac talked about that when he was young. His extra long arms. Like if you can get a kid who has long arms, who's built like that. I mean, he's got like the Tommy Hearns build, just in a smaller package, but those long arms, because those long arms are great for throwing uppercuts from distance.
Yep.
And just gives you a couple extra inches, and you're talking about a game of inches. You know, when you get a 6-inch punch, but you've got a 2-inch longer arm, and you get there first, bang.
And that's why lately in a lot of the chat rooms, ours included, people are starting to go with this Battle of the Legends thing. They start to bring up Floyd at welterweight versus Terrence Crawford. And yeah, I'm a Terrence Crawford fan, don't get me wrong. But when I'm breaking down the analysis of the whole thing, like Floyd's not bigger, he's not physically stronger, and the reach is either from armpit to the end of the fist is the same, or Crawford might actually have, slight advantage there. So when you bring these things into it, Crawford can switch, and he's just really, I won't call him an anomaly, but a guy from Oklahoma usually isn't the kind of guy that Crawford is when it comes to fighting. And what I mean by that is that there's not usually the amateur experience that comes from it. There's usually not like the hardened gyms like from Detroit and Chicago and places like that. So the fact that he is as good at boxing as what he is, not coming from a boxing family, not coming from a major boxing town, not coming from a major boxing gym that's like the Kronk or Gleason's gym or something like that, you got to be able to think that he has the intelligence and everything out, intangibles that can't be taught on why he's what he is in the ring now. So when you put him in with guys like that don't belong at welterweight, like him and Floyd, technically speaking, they didn't start at welterweight. This is their peak where they got to. You got to think that he's going to be able to hold his own against most of those kind of welterweights. Your Buddy McGirt's, your Mildred Taylor's, your Floyd Mayweather's, and when I'm not talking by legacy, I'm talking about size. He's got to be able to hold his own against those guys. Your Ray Leonard and your Tommy Hearns and guys like that, and even Felix Trinidad that started at welterweight and worked their way up, may not be the same thing. But when you're talking about guys of his level, his size, and everything intangible that comes with it, he's a special fighter.
I mean, the way you put it, it's true that he doesn't come from any of the major boxing hubs in the United States. So, but that's the thing, though. Now, at which point does the inactivity in the age start showing up? Because he's 36 years old, and I understand. I remember there was a time where Bernard Hopkins was in his early 40s, and he was fighting once a year, and he could pull it off. But not everybody's the same. So what I'm saying here is, the PBC, and I blame the PBC for this. They jerked him around the last part of the year, kept him on ice. Now again, they're talking about a Eubank fight, but when can we expect some sort of deterioration from his end?
Well, the fact that he's doesn't drink or smoke on the outside, keeps a clean living, and he hasn't taken a lot of damage in his fights. That should
Doesn't
add
balloon
some.
up.
Yeah, that should exactly. That should all add some longevity to him. But this is still all the normal. This is all still a new thing because back in back when I was a kid, man, you're 36. You were ancient. Like you were already a few years into your retirement. But those guys also, by the time they were 36, they'd have fucking 75, 80 fights.
And they probably had over 150 amateur fights.
Exactly. So,
And when when you're Ray Leonard, he had a very talented amateur class. We didn't hear most of the other guys, but he had a very talented amateur class he came from. The toughest I've ever seen from memory was Vernon Forrest. That 139-pound weight class going into 1992 had Kostya Tszyu before he turned pro, Piccarello, Stevie Johnson, Leovander Johnson, Vernon Forrest, Shane Mosley, Teron Millette, Richard Frazier, who fought for a world title. I mean, that's everybody that was at that weight class at that time. I've never seen that much talent come from one weight class and turn pro at one time that I can remember. Point being, when you have to go through all of that and you finally get up to like 40, 50, or like Jimmy and I grew up with, used to seeing guys about 70 fights. You also had 150 amateur fights fighting that level of competition.
That brings up a good point. Yeah, that brings up the fact that the developmental process for boxers in comparison to MMA guys was that you could log in about 25 fights. Let's say 20. Let's say 20 fights before you actually even started thinking of going after a world title. And we're talking about a sport that has 3 and now 4 world titles. Now you're seeing guys in their 10th, 11th fight, they're going for it. I mean, think about it. Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Naoya Inoue. These guys started getting titles when they were in their first 10 fights, within their first 10, 12 fights. So that's going to be interesting to see, well, how is that going to affect the quality of boxers? Because they're not plying their trade anymore for 20, 25 fights. I mean, even think about it. Andre Ward, when he fought Darnell Boone, I think he had less than 20 fights. He got his ass dropped hard. That was a fight where he had to get out of that round and then just box from afar against Boone and just look awful now, look better the next time. Guys don't go through that type of stuff anymore.
Nope.
And if they do,
that's
how
why
do they get out?
performances like Lopez?
Right. Yeah.
Hot and cold. Yeah, they get hot and cold. Well, that Ward though also had a much longer amateur career. I still go back to that.
Yeah, that's true.
So some of these guys there, and I'm not speaking in a way in every last one, but you mentioned Lomachenko, and if you add in Beterbiev to this conversation, and the one they call MJ down at Inoue's division, who had the belt prior to Taples. These guys, again, hundreds of amateur fights at an international level, not just within their own country. They're fighting all over the world in all these international tournaments because the country will put them in for those. So by the time they turn pro, they've seen all these different styles. They're used to training 4 10-round fights over our 8-round fights to start with over a 3-night period. They're doing 3 rounds, then another 3 rounds, then another 3 rounds, and 3 nights consecutive. By that time, you fought 9 rounds. Now, you didn't do it all in one day, but if you can do it 3 nights in a row, you can probably stretch yourself to do it all in one night if you're conditioned right. So these guys have this experience with some stamina because they go to all these different tournaments on a regular basis. They're in their mid to late 20s, and they've had over 100 fights. They've already had a decent amount of world-class experience by the time they turn pro, which is why they're getting ranked so much faster so quickly. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. The talent was deep, fewer belt, everybody was good, and it was mainly from this country. So it was also as much as how good were you, but not what you knew or how you could do it, but who you knew. Or it's not what you know, it's who you know. Not what you know about boxing, but are you connected to the right people that are going to get you those title shots?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a different world that we're living now, a boxing world. And you know what? I just want to play. Jim Lampley was on the 3 knockdown rule with Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. And I'm just going to play a clip here. This is why I don't understand why people. Jim Lampley says that he's working for payperview.com. He's going around doing promotion for them. And the last time that I remember he was on payperview.com, he was in the chat room for the Canelo Charlo fight, and I'm really aghast that nobody's offered him anything. He says no one's offered him a deal or anything. Maybe he's a dinosaur, because I still think of the guy as one of the best broadcasters. But then again, he's close to 70 now, and he hasn't worked since 2019 or 2018. So I forget some stuff. It's been a long time. But I just wanted to play. Was somebody going to say something?
Well, I was going to say sometimes when you can be almost too iconic, like your voice reminds people of HBO, and if you're trying to start a brand, you almost don't want that. You know what I mean? Like you almost want your own voice. So I could see maybe that, and I would imagine he don't work for cheap.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
He's definitely not going to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy. Yeah, I think the guy used to live during his HBO tenure. I think he was living in the Upper West Side. That ain't cheap. Living in Manhattan, so yeah, he must have been making good money over there with HBO. But this is why I can't believe nobody's ever nabbed him yet. Again, rather. Check this out. This is Jim Lampley on the 3 knockdown rule. He starts explaining the changing landscape in terms of media for boxing, and just the way he speaks, man.
For anything. As I've said to a lot of people, in teaching my course here at the University of North Carolina, Communications 490, Evolution of Storytelling in American Electronic News Media, one of the subjects
I mean, the way the name of the course just rolls off his tongue. You know, this guy is erudite. He's very articulate. And one of my favorite Jim Lampley moments was Jose Luis Castillo was fighting Juan Lascano for the lineal lightweight championship, right? And Lascano was on a good run. I think he was coming off a win over a guy, maybe Chief will remember him, Stevie Forbes. No, not Stevie Forbes. Not Stevie Forbes, the lightweight dude that beat Manfredi, and he had a draw against Castillo too, and a loss. Who was, the lightweight dude. You know who I'm talking about, Chief. Maybe somebody else will remember.
Yeah, I'm looking this one up real quick because it's slipping my mind too.
Stevie Johnson.
Stevie Johnson, thank you, recognize. Yeah, I always confuse him with Stevie Forbes. But anyway, Jim Lampley was calling the Castillo versus Lascano fight because Lascano could crack. Meanwhile, Castillo goes in there, walking through his shots, walking through everything, barely flinching. And there's a point in the 8th or 9th round, the pressure's getting to Lascano, and Castillo just corners him, walks to 2 big shots, and then just unleashes body shots. And Jim Lampley just goes, a vicious cauldron of pressure from Jose Luis Castillo. that always made me laugh the way he said, how did he come up with that shit? A vicious cauldron of pressure. So, yeah, I can't believe nobody's nabbed him. I guess he's comfortable, teaching Communications 409 or whatever he said in over there in Carolina. So, hey, good for him, man. But, yeah, man, it's just... although I will say it wasn't all roses with Jim Lampley. Near the end of their HBO tenure, him, Roy Jones, and Kellerman, they started getting a little too comfortable with boxers, calling them by their first names, especially with Andre Ward. Dre. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah, they started getting a little too comfortable. It's keep it professional. Keep it professional. But, yeah, hopefully somebody... Yeah, what about you guys? Wouldn't you like to see Jim Lampley calling the fights again?
Yeah, of course. I thought he was excellent. I would... Larry Merchant, when at the best, I thought it was him and Larry Merchant. I thought they were great. They worked excellent together. Larry Merchant would go rounds without even saying a word because he realized it's not when you say, it's what you say, and he wasn't always trying to paint a narrative. Like you can tell when it's not organic. Like you can just picture fucking Kellerman sitting there unwrinkling his piece of paper he has in his pocket. It's the story of the fight. This right here, and he would go into this mindless diatribe of like. And he would try to make sure it fit. It's like it was pre-written. Oh, it's just terrible.
Terrible. Sorry, go ahead, BDA.
Well, just real quick, because I saw some people on Twitter talking about how I've heard those comments before. Oh, Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, they played the agenda, meaning the race agenda. I'm thinking, wait a minute, these dudes, they did have an agenda, especially Lampley, but it was the HBO agenda. Jim Lampley's, I remember he was biased towards De La Hoya. He really liked De La Hoya. And he's a white guy, Lampley. So this whole racism thing, I don't get it. He was also pretty generous towards Jermaine Taylor. So it wasn't about race. It was about, hey, this is the guy that HBO's pushing. Give him a little push. But I
he loved Fernando Vargas too.
He was a Manny Pacquiao fanboy, dude. When he fought the African guy, what was his name? Joshua Clottey. Bang,
Oh
bang,
yeah.
bang. Bang, bang, bang. Here I come.
Yeah,
Everything just
Lampley,
hitting the gloves, nothing landing on the body.
yeah. He's like, you gonna throw sometime? Bang, bang.
Lampley told me that it was he always like he said I don't have any certain particular favorite style. It's always the guys who bring out the emotion of me. You know what I mean? He says it's always guys who make the juices flow, the guys who leave it all in the ring, the guys who make you say, Christ, there's no way in God's green earth I could do that. You know what I mean? Like take the beating. Like I mean, he was always cool to Mickey. Always cool to me. He was
Yeah.
like holding his hand on the way out there when they were leaving on the ambulance after the fight. He come over and he was holding Mickey's hand, just like, shaking it and just like talking to him. George Foreman kissed Mickey on the fucking head. They were like just unbelievable. Even the kid from the Gronk, they all went over to see them after, just like, holy shit, man, I can't believe what we saw.
And then Jim Lampley said this.
I used to it.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Bang.
And when Pacquiao throw back,
Yeah, bro.
keep coming.
So
I wish
one of Jim's stories that he actually told in an interview I heard, which was kind of funny. It looked like he and George got along instantly the second the cameras turned on, and George and Larry were the ones that would butt heads. Jim said that, or excuse me, Mr. Lampley, I guess is a better way to put it, would say George kept calling him young man. Because he knew who Larry Merchant was, because Larry Merchant had been covering boxing, used to be the editor for the sports section of Philadelphia Press and stuff like that. So he'd been following fights for a long time, and he knew who Larry Merchant was, even if he didn't have a sports relationship with Larry Merchant. But he knew who Larry Merchant was. Jim Lampley was broadcasting, so he wasn't a writer that covered the sport, even though he covered the sport. So every time he talked to Jim Lampley, young man, he said, finally I pulled out my birth certificate. He said, look, George, you are literally 2 months older than me. We are the same age. But it just shows that, when the camera was on, you would think that he and Jim got along great to begin with, and he and Larry were butting heads for one reason or another. And all it was just two people that were of their world and broadcasting alphas, and Larry Merchant and George Foreman. Their opinions, they knew that they held a lot of weight, and they had different perspectives. But the thing that I loved about the combination of Merchant and Lampley is, like you said, Lampley knew how to articulately paint a picture, and then Merchant he covered Sugar Ray Robinson. He knew what he saw. When he saw something special, and mark my words, he made sure that he let the world know when Floyd Mayweather beat Diego Corrales that was something special. For everyone thinks that he always hated Floyd and he was racist towards Floyd. He praised nothing, calling it a virtuoso performance and everything else. And then when Floyd said afterwards, I wouldn't mind fighting Nassim Hamed, he said, Nassim's not going to want to fight you after this. He was straight up praising everything Floyd did, all the way up until Floyd started handpicking opponents.
Well, Larry Merchant had that reputation. Maybe Jimmy can remember this all the way back to the Hagler days, because he was pretty harsh on Hagler. And he didn't believe that Hagler was a beast. And Hagler, I don't know, I read this, but apparently after Hagler beat Hearns, he went up to Larry Merchant, Hagler did, and said, what about it, Larry? You think I'm good now? And then Larry Merchant supposedly said, well, Marvin, I got to tell you, you are. But that wasn't on TV, because I don't think that the Merchant was working, but that must have been off the air or whatever. But the point is, a lot of people respected Larry Merchant. They want to make it out to be like, oh, we don't care what that old man has to say, but evidently they do, because it would get under their skin. They wanted this guy's approval. And look, it's somebody in the chat mentioned, we need some fresh blood. It's true. You can't always go back to fucking nostalgia and the old days. But that's a little bit what irks me now is, I don't see anybody, and I'm not speaking from the point of view of, the past is always better. Because believe me, there's a lot of things right now that are much better in boxing than they were back in the days, as it pertains to television. For example, applications. The fact that I could have watched this event today in bed if I wanted to, if I were sick or something, or if I was on a bus or metro, subway or whatever. So believe me, I'm not one of those guys that's longing for the old days. But right now, and I think this is my opinion, I don't see any broadcaster up there that really matches what Lampley and Merchant were doing at their peak.
They start too quickly. They know people, and they like Jimmy said about Max Kellerman. You can almost like hear him unwrinkling the paper. Max wasn't a writer. He may have written a lot of papers in college because he was a history major, but he wasn't a writer. He wasn't a professional writer.
He was a
and
rapper.
when you're a professional writer, or when you are well read and studied, like some people that I know who I'm not going to mention on air, PDA, you have a very broad vocabulary, and then you also know how to put things eloquently. You know timing, you know how to use words, and your words are your weapons. Your words are your tools, your words are your friends, your words are everything that you know how to use. Max didn't know any of that. He was just a pompous guy that grew up arrogant, that had a TV station and thought that he automatically knew what he was talking about, and the people would hang on his every word. And it showed the difference in comparison when you put him next to Jim Lampley as compared to when Larry Merchant was there. It didn't flow. We watched it because we love boxing, but it had nothing to do with them as a dynamic duo of being commentators.
I still remember in 2007, I want to say, when news came out that they were going to replace Larry Merchant with Max Kellerman. And I said, hold on. I said, and I wasn't the only one, because the plan was, I think it was Ross Greenberg. Was he the HBO sports guy, or was he just the box? No,
Yes.
He was the HBO sport.
Okay, yes, he was.
So he must have gotten in contact, or somebody from Max Kellerman, because again, we've talked about this before, and Jimmy's provided us the information that Max Kellerman, the reason why he was able to jump from public access to ESPN, then to Fox Sports, and then to HBO, just, all the major networks that people would kill to have a spot on, and he's just, picking him out like he's buying bread at his local bakery. That's because he was affiliated with and represented by a powerful Hollywood agent. And so, I'm not saying Max Kellerman is a bad broadcaster. You couldn't be, no matter how much nepotism involved or how much politics are being played. I mean, the guy does his job well. But what I'm saying is he certainly paled in comparison to Larry Merchant. And I remember when news came out that he was going to be replacing Merchant, there was such an uproar that they had to compromise, HBO compromise, and they said, okay, we'll keep Larry Merchant on for the championship cards, and we'll put, or something like that. So he was going to be on the HBO championship and the pay-per-views, and Kellerman was going to be doing the After Dark and some championship, something like that. But they had to introduce him slowly. Yeah, because there was an uproar. It's like, why the fuck are you going to get rid of this guy, Merchant, who can still do his job very well, better than Kellerman, to replace him with the flavor of the month?
You noted the fact that he is competent, you're right, but he learned. If you go back and you watch ESPN when he first got on there with a leather jacket, with a collar popped up and rolled the sleeves up with his goatee and his hair that looked like he had a pound of grease in it, that was just, it was a way for us to know who he was so he could make a name for himself. And I can't take that away from the guy. I mean, I was serving in the military thinking, man, I could have that job easily. Well, maybe. It's not as easy as it seems. He had a knack to be in front of the TV. But when Larry Merchant would reference another fighter towards something in history, it wasn't someone he heard of and watched through old film and someone told him about. You knew Larry Merchant's bringing real life history of experience that he witnessed along with it. And that is now starting to be where Max Kellerman can be if you start to talk about the fights that he took on in the early 2000s. We're in 2024, his 20 years of experience of him being in front of people calling fights. When he first turned pro into the ESPN world, that wasn't like that. He had to learn along the way. And he learned from Larry Merchant, whether he admits it or not. And he definitely learned from Jim Lampley because he worked right alongside him. So what he's turned into is beyond watch those hiccups along the way. When Larry Merchant got on TV on HBO after doing all the different things he did, he was already accomplished in what he could say, what he could do, and what he knew. And so it's like watching a guy that was just taking on another goal in life versus a rookie starting off and watching all the hiccups and all the sophomore slumps and everything else along the way. That's the difference between those two.
Well, you know what, though? It brings us to another point here in regards to broadcasting, which is, and by the way, what they do isn't easy. It's simple. Hey, they got the teleprompter, read it. But there is such a thing as sounding too wooden. I mean, I'll give you an example. Some of the guys out there that people think would make good commentators actually do a horrible job. Mike Tyson, for example. During the Showtime days, they used to put him in there sometimes, just sometimes, for just a couple of rounds. Hey, we got Mike Tyson here. You want to make a couple of comments? There's not much. He's not a good microphone guy. Even, in fact, if you listen to his podcast now, I remember, it gets a lot of views, so evidently some people like it, but it's just too much Mike Tyson being high, rambling on, and other people around him just agreeing with him because he's Mike Tyson. Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, because it's his show.
He's also a crybaby. Cries a lot, man.
Yeah, he does, huh? Yeah, and then you got Lennox Lewis, for example. He's still trying to be a commentator. HBO gave him a shot back in the 2000s, and they failed to renew his contract. They refused to renew his contract once it was done, and apparently he still wanted to be a commentator. He liked it, but they told him, "Look, you're not a good fit. You're too wooden." So what I'm saying is,
if memory serves, his contract may not have even been up yet, and they still let him go.
Is that right?
Now I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But if because he didn't have it for like 4 or 5 years, and so usually people sign people for a decent amount of time. That he only had it for a handful of years before they parted ways. So I'm not sure if his contract just not renewed, or if they were just like, "Look, dude, our ratings are going down. You're not helping." But they did say it was a mutual split, which means we don't want you and we're not going to fire you, so you can step away. And Lennox said, "Okay."
A fucking personality of a parking meter.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you know what's the worst on top of that? He's very antagonistic too. Watch the PBC telecast with him and Joe Goosen, which, by the way, that's a bit of a bad call to make right there, to put two expert commentators in one broadcast. I mean, at least have Lennox Lewis away on the studio or something, but you get two guys that are breaking down a fight, two experts, Joe Goosen from the point of view of a trainer, and Lennox Lewis from the fighter's perspective. Well, Lennox Lewis was always trying to one-up Goosen. So no, and then he would try to pull rank on him. It's like, you have to have been in the ring to know what I'm talking about, Joe. It's like, so you're gonna do that old tactic, and it brings me to Andre Ward. Andre Ward, ESPN decided to part ways. What was it, 2 years ago, a year ago, from the ESPN telecast? Because again, that was a problem. They had two expert commentators, him and Bradley. Eventually, they had to cut somebody loose, and Andre Ward's the less personable, warm character. And I don't know if you guys saw, but there's a clip that was making the rounds, social media, of Andre Ward on one of those New York. What's the show there with the guy there?
Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, Charles the God, and Ward is talking about
Charles God. Did you just call him Charles the God?
What's his
I
name?
said Charlemagne the God.
Charlemagne Obedient called Charles.
Hey, by the way, didn't that dude drug a woman? Is that what I heard?
I call him Charlatan the Fraud.
Come on. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is this. But he actually did. Okay, so Ward's talking about how Canelo's avoiding, he can't be as good as Mayweather because Mayweather never avoided anybody. And then the God there, he actually countered. He said, well, but who has Canelo avoided? And Andre Ward goes, oh, I can go through the list. And of course, he doesn't go through the list. And I'm thinking, oh boy, Andre Ward is still angry that he did avoid guys. He never fought Adonis Stevenson. He never fought Beterbiev. He never fought Bivol. He never fought Gvozdyk. He got a favorable result against Kovalev, and I say favorable in quotation marks.
That was a straight up. Sammy Davis Jr. knows who won that fight.
Come on! You got to bring old Sammy into this, but it just seems like it's sour grapes because his argument isn't even all that great, and I can't help but wonder if maybe that's also why he failed as a commentator. Because he's too involved in it. You know what I mean? It's about how he's going to look in regards to what's going on in the ring. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, when he's trying to build up Floyd, he's trying to build up his name. First of all, he's trying to sell a book. So
right. Which isn't selling well from what I heard.
No, it's not, from what I've been hearing also. So he's trying to sell a book, and then he's trying to bring Floyd's name in as favoritism of because Floyd sold. And if I'm praising Floyd, then that's got to help me a little bit. He knows good and well as everybody else, that Floyd's career was great and managed extremely well. But to say that he didn't avoid people, you now make yourself sound like a gold medalist, multi-world champion commentator to a fanboy. Because those of us that really follow the sport, and you should be one of them if you're actually getting paid to commentate, know the history of the sport, know the fact that Floyd made strategic decisions from Pretty Boy Floyd all the way to Money Mayweather. He specifically did not want to have anything to do with a prime Shane Mosley. And that's just the beginning. So to try and say, well, no, he never ducked anybody, you're just a fanboy.
Well, but you know what?
Forget the fact you won a gold medal and everything else. You're just painting a picture to try and get on good with people that like him because no one's praising your name.
Look, the Mayweather avoided people think, okay, yeah, 2008 he did avoid when the welterweight division got red hot and he decided to have his little lost weekend. I mean, come on, what was that about? But he did fight a lot of people, so I'm not going to sit here and say necessarily, because you could say the same thing about De La Hoya, you could say the same thing about Pacquiao, and a lot of people are saying the same thing about Canelo. But for Ward to say that so directly, Canelo's ducking people, and then he doesn't even mention it, there's always going to be somebody that you can fight. Now, Canelo right now does have the option to fight Benavidez, which is why I'd like for him to announce or be clear about, okay, are you going to stay here and fight the best, or are you going to be on your Mayweather 2017, 2022 farewell tour? Because if that's the case, then okay, we're not going to be angry of you not fighting Benavidez. But if he keeps up the pretense that, yeah, man, I want to fight the best, and then you're not fighting Benavidez, then at some point it's going to become a duck. But I just want to say this too, in regards to Andrew Ward. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. Andrew Ward was a guy, he made it very clear during his tenure as a boxer that he was going to fight his way. I'm in the ring, you're not. That's sort of the things that he was saying. In fact, I remember he got into it with Steve Kim and Doug Fisher, or either one of those guys or both of them. I forget. In fact, he told them on Twitter, I remember, he said, stay in your lane. Meaning you guys ain't boxers. You've never been boxers, so you can't comment on what I do. Okay, fair enough. But then don't complain about, how come I'm not, because he's not well known. Again, like Chief said, he's trying to sell a book, and I'm pretty sure he ain't selling well because he's no Mayweather. And the reason why he's nowhere near that class is because of the way he fought. In other words, what I'm trying to say here is you can't do what he did, which is, hey, stay in your lane. I'm going to box the way I want to. Veteran tactics, which is just a euphemism for cheating. And then be surprised after you retire when people forget about you. What do you guys think?
Stay long. You didn't make you were in a tournament that was full of a lot of good names. You were the bigger man that came down. All of them. You were a light heavyweight, went back to light heavyweight, went down to super middleweight. Some of them were actually middleweights who moved up. 2 of them were. So you beat smaller men in a tournament. You beat all of them, and you beat them decisively. Congratulations. You starved the light heavyweight. And then after you starved the light heavyweight and Chad Johnson, you got a gift decision against Kovalev, fought one more. Now, he's probably some other fights I'm missing in there that were irrelevant because they weren't title fights. And then so you got a gift win and then hit him in the balls and got 2 victories, and then you retired. That's what you did. That's the sum up of the Hall of Fame career. That's what he did.
But he retired.
But wait,
there was
Chief.
no great rivalry.
The plan was for him to fight AJ, remember?
Oh, come on. Yeah, he said, right?
Think about this, guys. Andre Ward retired younger than Lomachenko, Triple G, Canelo, Crawford, Spence. I could rattle them all off than they all are right now. He retired at 32 years old because what happened was after he got the absolute robbery decision, because he knew he lost. Remember his face, the absolute dejection in his face, because he's walking around that ring thinking, no, fuck it, losing, everybody, hey, all the greats have lost. And still, his hands go up in the air like, oh, I knew it. Oh, fuck out of here, dude. You know you lost that fight. Hands down, no question to ask. So, yeah, but then he realized, wait a minute, and this dude's a drunk with no legs. I have to go, look who's in the pipe, Gavajdik. fucking Beterbiev. He was like, "Sasalada, see ya."
A salud, like they say, like your people say, Jimmy. Yeah, it's a good point, man. And he was a bit of a, and you have to be a little bit of an ego-driven guy to get to where he is, because he did have a very good career. Don't get me wrong,
but it's not just ego, Mr. PDA. Think about what he did to Triple G. His jealousy and his arrogance. Sorry to cut you off. Finish what you were saying.
No, you were.
What's that?
Well, hold on, because I wanted to hear what Jimmy had to finish up there about that. But go ahead.
You want me to finish up what I was saying?
Yes, Jimmy. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying that his arrogance. Think about this. Okay, he's in a contract dispute, a contract that he signed. Nobody held a gun to his head. He wanted to get out of it, right? So he was in court. That took up 2.5 years of his life. Remember, he was signed by HBO to become the face of HBO boxing. Then he disappears for 2.5 years. Never mind that he wasn't lighting the world on fire when he was fighting, right? The complaint was he was boring, because he was. A lot of his fights were hugging his way to victory and whatnot. I mean, he was a cerebral fighter, don't get me wrong. Very smart dude in the ring. He did what he had to do to win, but that doesn't take away from the fact his fights weren't exciting. But then when you disappear, so in the meantime, he's disappeared. So what does he do? Nothing but driven by sheer jealousy. He sees Triple G, a kid who come along who had a fight for peanuts, pennies on the dollar, just to get on HBO. Tom Offler said, "Listen, we'll take whatever you give us. Just get him on. You won't regret it." Of course, he's out there just blasting dudes out. Becomes the face of HBO boxing, the whole fucking, ring entrance to that, song and everything. So it was, what did he do? He sat at home and stewed. So he started, and then he lied about the fucking fighting him at 168. All fight him 168. Little G. He's the one who coined that, which stuck to him to this day. And that was a fellow fighter from the same network. And again, he said that everybody knows he couldn't even make 168. He had to move the weight class to 172, and he said he could never fought down there again. It was just horseshit. And he did that the same reason why, like, just a few Canelo fights away. Because remember, prior to Canelo going to 168, when he first went to 168, and they talked about him going to 175 to fighting Bivol or Kovalev, he said he would never go up. They'd never beat. It's too small. Never beat anybody light heavyweight. So he saw what he was doing. He saw he was eclipsing his legacy easily. So what does he do? Well, if you really look at it, his resume is not too much different from Tank, or the people he's fighting is not too much different from Tank Davis. Like the ultimate fucking dig. So when you see that, that's petty, catty bitch shit.
That's
what I mean?
That's a good
he
point,
moves
there,
like
Jimmy.
a female.
That's an excellent way of putting it, with the context that goes with it. Because, even to this day, we have to hear about how Triple G avoided Andre Ward. And we're talking circa 2014 here. And, there's documentation and back and forth things that were said, statements made in the media that indicate that Triple G wanted all that smoke, as they say in the streets nowadays. And let me just add this, too, as well. Some people are going to say, oh, y'all hating on Andre Ward, or y'all mad, which, again, doesn't really refute anything of what we're saying, because let's stick to the facts here. Andre Ward is a guy that bent the rules. In fact, if you look at the Kessler fight, the amount of clinching, it was one of the most egregious examples compared to Klitschko and Povetkin. It was sexual assault in there. It was sexual assault in there. And on top of that, Ward was using his head. I think he sliced Kessler so bad that essentially shortened his career because of the scar tissue. So what gets me is when people say about Andre Ward, well, it's about, they don't even call it clinching anymore. They call it tying up. Let's try to make it sound a little less egregious. When you're one of those boxing purists, like, hey, you're not in the ring, because that's what Andre Ward said. He says, hey, I'm going to fight the way I fight because I'm in the ring, not you. Okay, but you're ending another man's career with your headbutts. And then these are the same type of... So in other words, you care about fighters' safety. In other words, your safety, because I'm going to have to fight the way I have to because I'm the one in the ring, not you. But you're willing to put another man in danger like that? And then they will say, well, it's dog eat dog. Okay, then don't cry when we criticize you when you're admitting you're cheating. Because there are rules for a reason. That doesn't make it right. It's not your right to break the rules. And on top of that, it makes for a boring performance too. It sullies the performance. So I'm talking from a boxing perspective, a boxing fan's perspective. I want to see clean fights because that usually provides better action in the long run, and it betters the sport. Not this clinching ass style type fighting that we're seeing nowadays.
Yep.
Well, I can see. I just.
I mean,
called to
again,
the
it
trainer.
keeps going down to like people trying to say, "Oh, y'all just mad," like you said. When that gets confronted with facts of like, well, I'm not going to mention somebody's name, but somebody in our chat gets very passive aggressive and like, well, I don't know if it's really intentional, but it definitely, caused the cut. You mean the guy that had 100 something amateur fights and 37 pro fights, when he bends his head down and then launches forward, measuring with his left and not attempting to throw a punch and they collide heads? That's not intentional. You can't see the intent behind that. All right. I may not be to read his mind, but I've been watching boxing a long time. I've seen real headbutts. Andrew Galata, Mike Tyson. I've seen people headbutt before, and I can add Andre Ward to that list. That it was not an accident that they clashed heads as many times as they did. For the way he fought Kovalev in that first fight, for 7 to 8 consecutive rounds, he didn't do a single legal tactic. None. Everything was grabbing. You're allowed to work your way out of a clinch when you end up tying up. But to initiate a clinch and then use then to free a hand and purposely hit your opponent, that's holding and hitting. That's against the rules. It's been against the rules since Joe Louis was champion, or even further. So for him to, well, that's the way I have to fight. These guys are bigger than me. Well, guess what? Then you're not that great. Because Ray Leonard didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
Duran would do that, but he didn't have to.
That's the thing. That I still recall that Victor Conte talked about that, how he has a private gym and he's been working with Andrade for a long time. So this was, I want to say it was pre-2020. So he's working with Andrade, and Andrade is preparing to fight a guy that Andre Ward is associated with. So Andre Ward and some two other dudes go into the gym and they ask for permission to be there. Because again, it's a private gym. So Conte says, okay, you can watch the sparring. There was a sparring session that was going to take place between Andrade and some other dudes. I think I'm getting the names. I might be getting the names confused, but let's just go with it. So Andre Ward all of a sudden pulls out a camera or somebody associated with him. And Conte said, oh, that's it, you're out. So that's the type of stuff that these guys, because Andre Ward is from that school of boxing of win by any means necessary. So in other words, he's admitting, I can't beat you fairly. I have to bend the rules because, like Jimmy said, there's an ego thing going on here. Well, that goes beyond a healthy ego. It's an overinflated ego. And may I also say just one last thing here about that is Andre Ward is feeling the heat now because he's been retired for a while now, and he's starting to realize that even if he goes back on the public circuit, with his book and all that, he's not getting that much attention because, believe it or not, time flies by, you get replaced by somebody else. Already, he was never really the biggest name in boxing, not even close. He thinks people are going to remember him. I'll give you an anecdote. Sugar Ray Leonard was a darling of the U.S. for a while after his Olympic gold medal win. In his autobiography, he talks about how he went MIA for about 4 or 5 months, deciding what he was going to do with his career, something like that. And his manager or whatever told him, look, nobody knows you now anymore. You got to get back on the map and you got to work your way back up. And Sugar Ray Leonard said, no, man, that's not true. I was just, not that long ago, they were doing some sort of like a event in my honor or whatever. So the guy said, okay, he took him to a mall or some public space. He said, just stand there for like 20 minutes or something. He stood there. Nobody recognized him. That's and even that's in the 80s. Now we're talking, or late 70s rather. Now we're talking 2024. Social media, mass communication, everything goes so fast. Media oversaturation. You can't believe that people are going to remember you, or even when you were liked, and that word was not liked. So you get the point of what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're here today, gone tomorrow, and it's worse now than it ever has been because, like you said, too many different things, too many different people, too many different avenues can just replace you that quickly. And youth sells more than anything else. We don't have youth. And when the youth is what you're selling to, they will find something else. I have kids, trust me, their attention spans of popular doesn't last long if they can't keep access to you. If you shut down, they'll find someone else to pay attention to.
Yeah, exactly. That's why these guys that try to stay away, have these year-long layoffs, and think that they're the faces of boxing. Well, somebody's gonna come along and steal your thunder. That's just the reality. There's always someone else that comes along next. And listen, this isn't necessarily to bash Andre Ward, but it's just, come on, guys. You look at the dude. He was a dislikable character. It is what it is. I won't say, I will never say he was a bad fighter. Although he did put on some bad performance, like I said, with the Kessler fight. That was a dirty, dirty fight. But I mean, he was a good fighter. And, you know, as a boxing fan and a guy who practices a sport, I looked at his defense more than anything else. And I said, oh, look at that. And let me see if I can recreate some of the things he did, because his defense was good. His footwork was good. His punch selection was good. But he's just not what
it's the way he tried to deny his dirtiness. And then he'd come back out and say, well, you know, I fight the way I fight. So you're either not dirty and you're doing this because the fight just got that way. And it can happen. It can happen. Emotions can get in the way. They're two alpha people trying to prove who's better, and someone wants to win. I can see that. But you defend it as saying, you say that you're not dirty, but then you say, I'm going to fight the way I fight and how I have to do to win. You're contradicting yourself. So there's nothing genuine in it. Duran would do some pretty crooked things. And we admire him because he did it, because he said, yeah, I tried to beat you up. Yeah, I tried to break his arm. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I tried to punch him in the back of the head. Yeah, I tried to kill him. Yeah, this is what I wanted to do. He was straight up and genuine about the malice that he had towards his opponent. And for some strange reason, the sadistic side of us respected that. But Ward would deny the fact that he was dirty and then turn around and say, but I fight the way I fight. Yeah, so you're admitting the fact that you fight that way, but you won't own it and be genuine about it. And that's what people don't like about him.
He kind of has to. I mean, for Christ's sake, he's the younger brother of Jesus Christ.
Don't get me started on that one.
Son of God. Yeah,
don't get me started on that one. That was the first reason why I didn't go anywhere near his bandwagon.
Yeah, and him and Virgil Hunter too. That's another dude that he gives off these vibes of, you don't want to be locked in an elevator with him. But I will say though, the reason why he's so hard up on Canelo, I think, well, none of us have touched on it so far, is I think it's an inter-Irish rivalry. Let's not forget, Andrew Ward is half Caucasian.
Wow.
His father's Irish, full Irish. And of course, Canelo, it doesn't take a genius to see he's got Irish in him too. So I think there's some sort of Irish rivalry that we can't understand.
It makes perfect sense, BDA.
Yeah, well, I can speak on this being the token white guy. No, I'm just kidding. No, plus Chief is here. Sorry, I'm not the token tonight.
I think Chief is whiter than you.
Oh, he is much whiter than me.
There you go. And I'm not saying white, obviously, in a disparaging way. When this is an NPR here where, oh, that's so white. But listen, the point is, we've still got some good fights coming up. I believe next week we've got... who was it? Hold on. I have to check here. I'm losing my train of thought.
So hey, can I say though, BDA? Did you bring up they announced Munguia as Canelo's opponent? It's official now.
Oh, they did. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we sort of knew that, but yeah. Okay, so that's official.
What about Pacquiao coming out of retirement to fight the Brit who refuses to fight anybody who's relevant? And he's either fighting Conor Benn. Like, what the fuck are they doing with that kid? I'm not impressed with him, anyways. So, of course, they're going to have to pull out the corpse of Manny Pacquiao and put it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, no, you're
Manny
right,
might beat him.
Manny's like close to 50 now, right?
Just about,
He's in mid-40s. His mid-40s.
45? Yeah, 44, 45 years old.
Yeah, well, to take a year or two off of Mayweather's age, and that's how old he is.
Yeah, he might beat him.
Bang, bang.
They're both younger than Jimmy.
Nah, come on. Now, wait a minute. All right, well, listen, fellas, we got to cut this short. Hey, next week, we got an intriguing matchup, though. It is William Cepeda, the Camarón, taking on Maxi Hughes. That's a fight, very dangerous fight for Cepeda, unless he blows him out of the water, and then we'll be like, whoa, what happened there? We'll see. We shall see, indeed. And that's about it.
What about Inoue? They announced Inoue Neri, not surprising. taking on another fucking top end fight.
Yeah, and another former or current world champion. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal, right? That's all this guy fights, current or ex world champions. And I saw just today someone on Twitter referring to him as a bum.
He's a hype job.
Hey. Guess what ethnicity? No, I'm just kidding.
Nah,
But
come on,
it
come on,
was,
yeah.
of course. It always is. It always is. It always is.
Yeah,
It
man,
was a
I'm
fucking
very
fan, and they were talking about him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Camadon fight though next week. Anyway, we'll talk more about that during the next episode during the week.
His
perhaps.
nickname's Cabron.
Camadon, shrimp. Camadon, shrimp. It means shrimp in Spanish.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Cabron. I'm like, really?
Well, there is Cabrera. What's his name? Cabadon Cabrera. There is a guy that Giovanni Cabrera.
Yeah.
The guy that fought the last guy that fought Isaac Cruz. His nickname is Cabadon. So I mean,
Doesn't
I
that
don't
mean
like
like
it.
asshole?
Kind
Well,
of, yeah.
It can be
Cabron could mean a lot of things.
It could be said in
Like a jerk. Like a jerk.
It could be said in a favorable way. It could be used in a favorable tone, like, "Hey, you're cabrón." He's, está bien cabrón. He's lit up. Someone that's lit up, hard head.
Tengo culo nuevo que me chinga bien cabrón.
Well,
like a hard ass.
Recognize using the Mexican slang. Well, again, that's recognized when he meets certain people.
Did you say motherfucker?
No. All right, listen, fellas, we gotta go.
You tell me I can't speak Spanish, you motherfuckers.
He didn't say that. But anyway, listen, fellas, we gotta go. Shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that donated the super chat, everybody that called in. Thank you guys. You guys make the show great. I want to give a big shout out to Recognize, Sobers, Jimmy, Chief, Bucho was here earlier. Gotta get in touch with Gonzalo. I don't know if he's still up, but yeah, and shout out to Jose, who was asking for Gonzalo. He's still around. Don't worry. And that's about it. By the way, Mark T in the chat says that when Andre Ward walked Shakur to the ring in the De Los Santos fight, people thought that he was Shakur's uncle. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people say, "Who's this guy?" What? All right, listen, fellas.
But didn't he leave him, which was odd too, because he was signed with Ward, then he left him, but there was Ward in his corner.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I guess they got the James Prince connection.
He was his protege before Crawford, right?
Yep.
All right.
Before you get off, I just want to tell you something after we get off the air too, real quick.
Oh, okay. All right, well, fellas, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more shows. Don't forget to subscribe to the Second Renaissance, and we'll catch you on the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Hit the like on the way out. Money.